Alright guys, so it's a virtual SAN topic, and this is a big lab, and so those who are able to do that and those who really want to go for the stunt, they can try that. Good afternoon. And well, it's a big one, so as we talked last time as well, we could just go for my demo. It's a very critical topic, so I can just give them, and you can ask questions. Those who want to follow, so the requirement is for vSAN. I'm going to explain what is vSAN, but requirement for the lab, we need minimum 3 hypervisors. So if we do the RAM distribution, and some of you might be willing to even go ahead even though you have 16 GB RAM, so the RAM division would be tricky as well. So it's going to, so let's talk about what is vSAN. So now we have a total of 5 machines, and it's gonna get tricky. So there will be here. So I'll grab this diagram, and somehow MS Paint and OneNote do not go together, so I'll have to open the OneNote application as well. Okay, so far so good. I mean, what I wanted to show here was so what is vSAN, and what's the big deal with vSAN, how critical, how important it is, and for that, we're just going to talk about that now. All right, so here we have our first of all, we can just talk about, so the topic is vSAN, but let's compare it with the SAN environment. So first of all, we in our environment we have this software SAN, right? And in production environments, in big companies, big banks, they have actual SAN. This is just HP SAN, and SAN is storage area network, which is offering a lot and lots of rows and rows of disks there called LANs. And these disks, so from over the network, suppose you have fiber optic equipment there, and you're connecting it to first the fabric switch or fiber optic switch, and from there the switch, it connects to your fiber optic cards, so network card, HBA, right? These or if you have if the company hasn't have that kind of budget, then they would then go for software SAN, and that is what we have, the iSCSI SAN or fiber optic, right? These are two that we have. So iSCSI that offers ones over the network, over the Ethernet network, we can say, over the Ethernet network. And then we have fiber optic, and that it provides LANs or shared disks over the network to over the network over the fiber optic network, right? And fiber optic, so obviously that's more speedier but more expensive as well. So these two solutions are there for slower or faster shared disks over the network that will be or are being provided. But what if the company doesn't have the budget, and the companies say, thousands of companies would say that, hey, we can't afford that fiber optic SAN there or any other SAN there. So do you have any other solution that is going to just let us use our current hardware, and we still have a highly available storage, right? So that's where instead of SAN, there's a vSAN or virtual SAN that we're talking about, that is going to provide all those features. Now, what are those features? So first of all, if the company cannot afford to purchase a SAN solution, which is I was just showing you here the SAN solution, right? So suppose this is a $100,000 solution, and there are very expensive disks, and those they are put in racks, or they have or own racks with loads and loads of disks there, right? So if you cannot afford expensive SAN, then the vSAN is the solution. And how does it really work? So okay, first the company decides that, hey, we don't have enough budget, so whatever we have, and suppose we have 20 hypervisors, 30 hypervisors, 200 hypervisors. Well, if 200 hypervisors, then maybe the company has the budget. But suppose it's a few hypervisors there, 20, 30, 40. So what happens is that instead of having a highly available storage, so why am I saying again and again highly available storage? The iSCSI and fiber optic provide highly available storage. So you would have two of those, this diagram again, you would have two of those, and if one goes down, the other one would have, or you would also have it RAID 10 configured, which is that a one disk, there will be one volume created on top of three disks, or 10 disks, or 20 disks, or 30 disks, and if one disk goes down, it can tolerate the volume on top of it, can tolerate the loss of it. So they are highly available solutions. When you put that kind of money, obviously they better be highly available as well. So what about virtual SAN that just uses your current resources and offer you still a highly available storage? It's not that highly available. So highly available storage would be what? If one disk goes down, the virtual machine would still be available on the other LAN there, right? That would be highly available storage. So suppose there were 200 disks there, and out of those we created a volume on the three disks here out of the 200, right? So on top of that volume, you have created virtual machines which are actually being created here, right? So here you would see just one volume, but that one volume is actually created on top of three LANs. So if one LAN goes down, crashes, you will still have that volume available for you. So that's highly available, that it can tolerate the loss of one disk crash, or it can tolerate the loss of multiple disk crash. So you may have heard about RAID 1 and RAID 5. So anyone can tell me how many maximum disks you can have in RAID 1? I think I asked that before. How many maximum disks we can have in RAID 1? RAID 1, RAID uno, 1. In French it is un, RAID un. Okay, there you go. Shalendra says 2. Maximum 2 disks you can have in RAID 1. How about minimum disks in RAID 5? How many minimum disks in RAID 5 you can have? 3, yes, exactly. So it would be 5. RAID 5 would have minimum 3 disks, and RAID 1 would have minimum and maximum 2 disks. Then there's RAID 6, yeah, there's RAID 10 as well. RAID 10 can have as many pairs as you want, right? So RAID 6 can have actually two. It can tolerate the loss of 2 disks. Babatunde is saying RAID 6. So it can tolerate the loss of 2 disks, which means then it's RAID 6 would be minimum normally 7 disks or 5 disks, right? So 5 would be the option there. In certain solutions, there's minimum 7 disks also. And RAID 10 can have, suppose you have 20 disks, so you can have 5 pairs, right? So suppose you have 10 disks, you can have 5 pairs. 20 disks, you can have 10 pairs. RAID 10 is RAID 1 plus 0, right? So you can have as many pairs. If you have 10 pairs, you can tolerate the loss of 10 disks. If you have 20 pairs of disks in RAID for RAID 10, so if you have 20 pairs, pair means 2 disks, right? RAID 1. So you can tolerate the loss of 20 disks in RAID 10. So that's really cool. And RAID 10 normally is used in production environments, right? Okay, guys, so we were talking about that highly available storage here, and then we were talking about iSCSI, and we were talking about fiber optics. So suppose the company says, okay, I can't afford all that. Hey, VMware and Microsoft, do you have any solution? And VMware says, yes, we have vSAN. So what is vSAN? vSAN is that you can have uh, here you can have minimum of 3 hypervisors, and each hypervisor's local storage will be used for creating a one big data store, a data store which is called vSAN data store. So suppose you have here five disks here, local disks here. So you would create, you know what, this uh, our software SAN is coming in the way, so I'm just gonna quickly create another diagram where we have actually our lab which has 5 machines. We will have to create now 5 machines. In fact, so if you want to go along with me, and yeah, we can do that, or otherwise you can just watch and ask questions. What is this, what is that, because your final quiz would be asking all these questions, so I need to just give you some marks from somewhere, right? So and it's your favorite task as well. You all ask that, hey, please keep taking quiz from us, please, please, we are dying to have another quiz, please. So that's why I am just thrilled to give you another quiz. But it's going to only increase your knowledge, and that's very good for your interview, right? So see, Munir is on as a leader. Munir is saying yes, please, more quiz. See, okay, ignore the no there. So yeah, what we're talking about is that server 01 and server 02, which are still Windows machines, and then we have ESXi01, ESXi02, and ESXi03. So we need to have minimum 3 of the hypervisors. What do they do? So first of all, you're not getting a SAN now. So this means that you need to have you just have local disks. Okay, all hypervisors have local disks. So what's the big deal with that? Local disk, local disk, local disk, right? And local disk, so many local disks. So oops. So there's more quiz. Munir is saying more quiz. Okay. I don't know why, but Munir is saying very good things today. More quiz, more quiz. Okay. So here, please more quiz. Oh, okay. So let's carry on here. So ESXi01. Okay. So Munir has in a battleground now. Okay, guys, here let's try to understand now. If there are a lot of local disks, so the idea behind vSAN is that you can create a volume, a data store, vSAN data store on top of 3 disks, 3 hypervisors disks here. So that is also called highly available storage, right? And that is that you can create virtual machines on top of a data store. Yes, you can. It is built upon local disks. Yes, it is. But it's not what we were doing at the start of the course, where we were just creating data store on top of one disk or one hypervisor. It's going to span across 3 hypervisors, and it can tolerate the loss of one hypervisor and one hypervisor's or one hypervisor's disks. It can tolerate the loss of. So vSAN consists of the local disks of 3 hypervisors, right? And So that's another solution that Nutanix is also offering, vSAN solution. Some companies have done big businesses or are doing big businesses on the basis of just this technology called vSAN. That is also called HCI. Anyone knows what's an HCI abbreviated for, which actually uses the vSAN concept? It is hyper converged infrastructure. So HCI is hyper converged infrastructure, where you don't need actually a SAN. You kick out SAN, you just purchase 5-10 hypervisors there and start creating data store volumes across 3 hypervisors, then the next 3 another vSAN data store, then another next 3 vSAN data store. So what does it do? Consists of local disks of 3 hypervisors, uh, creates a vSAN data store. That's a big data store, right? Data store on top of the collection of uh, disks of 3 hypervisors, right? Did I just mention that already? Yeah. vSAN data store on top of these disks, and create a vSAN, create a vSAN data store on top of these disks. It can tolerate the loss of one hypervisor and keep the vSAN data store up and running. So one hypervisor goes down, still it will keep it running. And this is a warning to you that go for it, run for it, and just fix that hypervisor, or maybe the disks only were not available with one hypervisor, so you can fix that. So if one of the hypervisor goes down, so obviously, when one of the hypervisors goes down, the data store, vSAN data store, will still keep on running. If the 2 hypervisors goes down, then obviously you lost the whole vSAN data store there, right? Now, Alexei says that vSAN can be built on top of minimum 3. Minimum 3. So maximum you can actually go for as many, right? There is no maximum. But I have to check that too. Obviously, there would be a limit there, but minimum is 3. So maximum, yeah, you can have 10 machines. You can just expand that data store on that. But out of 3, it can lose 1 out of 3. So in a pair of 6, so it can lose 2, right? So pair of 3, pair means so 3, right? Okay, so 2 goes down. That's a bye bye if we have just 3, right? And one more thing here, that if you have, suppose there is 1 terabyte disks. These were all 1 terabyte disks, right? So 1 terabyte and 1 terabyte and 1 terabyte and 1 terabyte. So what happens when the one hypervisor goes down? So obviously, overall space of the vSAN data store will also go down, and you lost the E6i2 hypervisor, and your vSAN data store is still up and running, and there are virtual machines that have their virtual disks still connected. Virtual machines having virtual disks still connected, right? So, but you will, if you lose the full hypervisor, you lose this space as well, right? That's one thing. You will lose this space, so 3 terabyte will be less now from the hypervisor, right? And but the data store, vSAN data store volume will be up and running. HA will, so suppose you had the virtual machines that were running here, right? So then what will kick in if the hypervisor goes down and the virtual machines were running here? DRS or FT? What will kick in if the hypervisor goes down and there were 2 virtual machines there? DRS or fault tolerance? What will kick in if So that is a trick. That was a trap, and everyone fell into the trap, right? So what will kick in if the hypervisor goes down and the virtual machines were running on top of it? So DRS or FT? It's a trap. So it's neither. Both. What? So yeah, I can just put a really big trap there, right? So it is HA that's gonna kick in. Imane says it, HA. So I'm just saying trap, 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 trap. So Baba Rune says HA. So none of those, neither DRS nor fault tolerance will kick in. Suppose, okay, fault tolerance, you might have, said that, okay, maybe these were the active machines and their passive machines are there. I never said they have a passive machine there, right? These machines are there, that's it. So yes, if you assume that there were partner machines there, yes, your FT is correct then. But if just these machines are there, then HA has to kick in and restart these machines on other remaining hypervisor, right? So we get that this much space will be lost. Those machines have to be started on other hypervisors. So we get the same concepts. All the other high availability concepts are still available to be implemented when vSAN is there. So we get that, okay, the companies really go for, so it's a cheaper solution. We can just say, why would company go for that? Yeah, because they cannot afford the SAN. It's not that cheap. And second thing is the yearly support from, suppose you got it from HP SAN or from Dell NetApp, right? So it's a support contract that is very expensive. Even the disks, the LUNs that you get from SAN are really expensive. Like if we go for here, so it's HP SAN 1, and that would be images, and then well, I just wanted to show you a card. So these are disks after disks after disks, and each disk is really expensive as well. When it's for SAN, it is expensive, and this is unbelievable kind of thing. But I saw it, otherwise I wouldn't have believed it as well. Wouldn't have. But in one of the banks, they got one extra lawn there. There was a disk there, and that disk they had a that receipt as well, and it was written there, which was ridiculous. There was $17,000 written there, and one guy was saying, "Hey, this one disk that you're handing, it is for our SAN, and it is $18,000. Just this one disk. If maybe it was 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, or maybe 10 terabyte, but it was ridiculous. That one disk that I was handling in my hand was $18,000. But it would be very cheaper than that. So definitely it's expensive solution. So that's why many companies won't be able to afford that. So these are just diagrams and disks after disks, right? So let us go ahead. Oh, there's that fiber optic one as well, SAN specs. But yeah, so you have a switch, you have HBA or fiber optic network cards, and then the fiber optic cables, and then the SAN solution. So that's the whole package. Okay, so I'll put it as copy image and put it fiber optic SAN, the diagram for that. Okay, so let's go ahead, guys. So we were understanding, okay, 3 hypervisors and cheaper solution, uh, and it's going to keep that vSAN data store up and running. Okay, so we get that we will be actually adding 5 disks extra, or we can say. No, 2 new disks extra. So when you create a vSAN, the disks that you add there to the servers should not be having any data there, or if the data will be there, it will be formatted. So it should not be there should be totally new raw disks there. So if you want to create a vSAN, I'll just open that slide as well for just more points, and then those who want to do that. So what's the advantage of using hardware SAN? Mariam is asking what is the advantage of using hardware SAN. So it is very fast. Hardware SAN is always fast, and every company's first priority would be to use hardware SAN. Software SAN is when the companies are lacking budget there, and they can't afford that kind of expenses and support contract. Then they go for software SAN. Otherwise, definitely this would be it's highly available, and it's much faster, much faster. It supports all kinds of connectivity there, fiber optic and iSCSI as well. So yes, it's scalable. Yeah, you can keep on adding more disks. Highly available, scalable. When you're spending $100,000 or $80,000, so yeah, it better be good. So yeah, it's speed, scalability, high availability, right? Everything is there. So that's mucho importante, right? And okay, so what I was doing was that I'll just take out that points for vSAN and open that slide. So that's the diagram and some points there. So there are other software that are doing the same thing, and that is Nutanix Software. If you go to that website, Nutanix, so it's in the market, and it's only offering vSAN solution where you have just local disk where you create a data store volume, vSAN volume there, vSAN data stores we can say, or volume, and you can have 20 machines from there. They give a hardware solution there, so you just purchase their machines and then deploy on top of it your hypervisors or Microsoft Hypervisor, Hyper-V, or VMware ESXi. So Nutanix and Hypergrid, these are two only companies. There are many other companies that are offering vSAN solution, but they call it HCI, or Hyper Converged Infrastructure, right? So they call it HCI. So just be on the look for wherever it says HCI, which is hyperconverged infrastructure. So hyperconverged infrastructure. Have some knowledge about Nutanix as well, because in the interviews now recently, one of the students here, one of my students in other colleges, was saying that he did the cloud courses, and then they were asking him questions about VMware, and two or three interviews they were asking about VMware, and he was like, "Oh, seriously? Now I have to do VMware as well." So, and those who have done VMware, yeah. So when you're going for a job, let me know. I'll send you the interview questions as well for that. And okay, so HCI, hyperconverged infrastructure, that is just purely a vSAN solution, right? So that's why that name is so vSAN concept, we can say. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to check what's in the slide. And yeah, so the SAN is gone, and the vSAN is in, where you're using actually local drives. Wow, these are tiles of different sizes, right? Okay, so T-shoot, adding a new host, please give it a minimum of 6 GB for vSAN requirement. All hosts must be 6 GB. Ouch. Alright guys, so all 3 hypervisors must be 6 GB minimum. You put less than that, they might the vSAN might give you error, right? So those who have more than 16 GB RAM can join me. Others can. It's a critical topic, so you should see what I'm doing and ask questions as well, right? Um, so try to choose vSAN storage policy when creating VM on top of vSAN. So this is when we have created vSAN. I'm going to show you the whole thing step by step, how to do it. And then we have a scenario where we have actually updated our 2 hypervisors, right? Updated with the help of VMware Update Manager, right? So this also means that the 3rd hypervisor that we are about to add has to be first updated with Vm, and then it will be added to the 3 Either all three should be not updated with Vm, or all three should be fully updated with Vm, right? It cannot be that two are updated and one is not. vSAN will not work with that as well. And make sure the lockdown mode is off. Okay, we turned off the lockdown mode, remember, for the previous lab Vm, and then we turn it on as well, right? So now we have to turn it off again to create vSAN. Do the Vm update on third client as well, and its disks will be detected from vSAN. So it's will be detected from vSAN, or don't do Vm lab first. If you have done Vm lab first, which is too late for us, yes, we have done it. So obviously now the third machine has to be updated, or all machines not updated, or all machines fully updated. There is nothing less than that. It works if all three host disks are detected. They will be detected if all hosts are on same Vm update level. Again, nothing to do with we have no license. Grr. Okay, yeah. Initially, when I was doing those labs, so there was that continuous written there. Even now, you will see that you don't have Vm license will be written there, right? So then it was giving all kinds of problems, and I was thinking that maybe it's the trial version is just showing this errors because we don't have license. So it worked, but it took a lot of troubleshooting to really make it work in our environment. So if you can make it work here, wow, you can make it work anywhere. So those who are going to do this stunt with me, it's why I'm saying stunt. It's just that it's kind of tricky. So you can also, if you have full command on your vCloud, maybe you can just few of you can go there, but you have to then you're on your own kind of thing there in vCloud. I'm sure you guys are smart. So those who are doing in laptop, it requires 3 hypervisors and minimum 66 GB. So you can overcommit, but that might freeze your laptop. So yeah, you can take the risk and follow. Otherwise, try to understand first. If you understood, you can do that lab anytime by seeing this video. If you didn't understand that and you kept on troubleshooting your lab while I'm doing this, and you didn't get it, the concepts and everything, so that will be bad. So try to understand and try to ask questions. Why, what I'm doing, why I'm doing that, right? So in when we are trying to configure vSAN, it's going to say a license must be assigned to the cluster in order to create disk groups or consume disks automatically. It's going to say that. Well, anyway, that even with this, it works. Yeah. So Shiva is asking, do we need server 1 and server 2 also? Whoa. Shiva, yes. So why we desperately need server 1, first of all? We need DNS. Specifically from there, the name resolution. We can go totally IP based, then we don't need it. And yeah, the LUNs from there we also don't need it. So yes, it's the DNS mainly that we need it for. And second thing is that server 2 has vCenter that has cluster, and the vSAN lives inside the cluster, right? So server 2 is a must. And server 2 is a Windows machine, so it needs authentication. So again, it needs server 1. So yeah, we need server 1 and 2 both. Okay, so in last week also I was saying that hey, it's a big lab, but it's critical to understand what it is, and you can still do the lab, but doing the lab now, it's better to understand now than doing the lab with me. It's kind of tricky because if you had 32 GB RAM or 24 GB RAM, I would have asked you, okay, go ahead, start. But 16 GB RAM, you might see a lot of errors, and you might not then understand what's going on. So better consider on understanding what's going on, right? So about virtual SAN, a single virtual SAN data store is created using storage from multiple hosts and multiple disks in the cluster. Okay, that's what we just talked about. So 1, 2, 3 hosts here. You can have up to 64 hosts as well, right? 3 up to 64 is supported by actually the vSAN 6.0. This is 6.0. The 6.5 supports more than that, but it's not going to be like unlimited, but up to 64. Okay, second thing you can see here that there's SSD and HD SSD. So two groups are required to create a vSAN. Two groups? What do you mean by groups? So there has to be two disk groups that needs to be there. One disk group must be SSD, second disk group must have either SSD or HDD, right? So two disk groups vSAN must detect, and either so those disk groups, one of the disk group must have SSD and the other one SSD and HDD. So it needs to detect all that, right? So it says here HDD slash SSD, a group of disks. So this also means that the company may have been saying, hey, we have so many hard disks there, HDDs. We don't have that many SSDs. Since you were giving us the that big discount on, we don't have to purchase the high, that SAN. So why don't you just do us a favor, that can we use our slower hard disks as well? And the vSAN says, VMware says, yes, you can. So if you had HDDs already way back, you've been purchasing those and you've spent a lot of money on that, you don't have to throw them out and you have to purchase expensive SSD. You can use HDD as well, right? So SSD, one group per hypervisor, and another group of disks can have HDD or SSD. It can also be HDD and SSD, or HDD or SSD. But one group has to be SSD, another has to be either HDD or SSD, right? So it's just saying that if companies want to make use of their older hardware or slower disks, hard disk drives, right, they can still do that. Okay. So here, then it just says that you can just go for HCL, hardware compatibility list first. If you're going to use vSAN, just make sure that your IBM, Dell, or HP server, is it in the hardware compatibility list, HCL, of VMware. So VMware has tested some companies' hardware, some vendors' hardware, and they have released a list. Okay, this model of HP 850 or HP 370 or whichever 680 model, these are tested with vSAN. But others, maybe you're purchasing a totally new one, a heavy duty one, and maybe it's not yet tested by VMware to for it to run vSAN on it. So always check the hardware compatibility list first before you purchase a hardware. So other than that, it's saying that yes, you can have PCI SAS SATA hard disk drives, and you can have PCI SAS SATA SSD drives, at least one of each. So this is really important because I'm going to show you now, at least one of each has to be used, right? So, and you can use the RAID controller there, must work in pass-through or HBA mode. We're going to still talk about pass-through, which is RDM here. And then there's that when you create a new cluster, so there are many features: DRS, HA, EVC. We know till now here EVC, HA, DRS, but vSAN is the next big feature there, right? So now you can just go ahead and simply collect it. Now I have explained all that, so it again says that yeah, it's the two disk groups you need. One is SSD, one is HDD and SSD. Okay, so and yeah, so it's gonna take this. So I'm just gonna try to go down to the lab because the lab is big. I'll just give you the slide. There's one more thing that we need to understand, and that's gonna be uh, coming to you. This diagram we will need to discuss as soon as we start configuring SAN. But for now, what we need to do, I'm just gonna come back to that, and when we are configuring, there will be terminology coming. So then I'm going to come back to this lab and I'm going to explain what is it. So right now the lab steps are minimum of 3 hosts. Okay, we get that. Minimum of 1 SSD plus 1 HDD per host. Okay, 1 HDD has to be there as well. And then HDDs, SSDs, IO controllers, or on vSAN HCL. So hardware compatibility list, first go to the VMware site, it's saying it again, and then check it out. So vSAN 6 licensing, 6.x licensing we can say. So either 6.0, 6.5, 6.7. Dedicated 1 Gbps, better 10 Gbps uplink or network card. Vm Kernel Port dedicated for vSAN. So we're going to create Vm Kernel Port for vSAN as well. And okay, so the lab steps are that, so this is the diagram here. That's what it looks like. We're going to be adding E6i3 now, and well, I've gone through some troubleshooting, and it's not gonna work less than 6 GB per hypervisor. So if you wanna overcommit in your laptops, those, so you can do that. So she was saying, can we decrease the server 2's RAM and work with IP and don't use server 1? Maybe we can do the lab. Wow, I salute you for that. Well, yeah, no. It's a yes and no. Yeah, we can just take out server 1, but the thing is, it's also providing authentication to the server 2, which is a Windows machine, right? So that's again going to be a problem, um, because if Windows machine is not getting authenticated, we need to reach the vSAN or vCenter property. Although, if yeah, you can try that if you can shut down server 1 and add IP based 3 hypervisors. All 3 hypervisors you have to re-add IP on the basis of IP then, right? So that's a kind of longer work. You can do that. I'm just saying that you can do that. But let me just then show, as I need to start now. And yes, whatever you're trying to do, just you can ask, and I'll tell you what is possible, what is not. You're welcome. Okay, so add third hype ESXi, add its A record, add it to vCenter, add memory 6 GB to all 3 ESXi hosts, add Vm Kernel Port to all 3 ESXi hosts, add totally 2 new disks to each host. If there already is another disk and was used before, then it will not be detected by vSAN. It must be unused disk. So 2 new disks per 3 hypervisors. So let's enable the vSAN. Well, that's where the let's enable vSAN stage comes. So I'm just gonna go for now. What is our lab here? So that's where we're gonna start now. And I'm just going to still recreate or create one more diagram where we can progress as I'm going to start keep creating it as we progress, right? So the two machines are there, and 2 further machines are there, and the third machine is about to be added now. So again and again in interviews they will ask for vSAN, so you must understand how it is done, even if you're not following with the lab. But at home, try to do that. On vCloud, try to do that. So okay, vSAN and server 1. I'll just make sure that the RAM is minimum most on all others. So it is 2 GB already, we know that. Server 2, we can take it down to 6 GB. I think it is already on 6 GB, but I'm going to confirm that. We did put ESXi01 on 4 GB, but it has to be now 6 GB. So I need to shut down ESXi1, ESXi2. I need to shut it down. And not only that, it needs to be updated to 6 GB. And brace for any errors as well. So 2 new disks, which we can give a size. We can give any size. I'm going to give 500 GB because they are thin provision, so we don't really worry about that. 500B, so it's GB. So that's pretty much the same thing. Also, 2 new network cards we will be dedicating just for the Vm Kernel Adopter. So I'm just gonna put that ESXi2 here, and that is also 6 GB and 2 new disks. And then now ESXi3, that will have a lot of configurations to be added there. It will have 3 new disks, so 1 disk just for the hypervisor and 2 new disks later for the vSAN. And this one needs to have at least we can say 3 network cards, 3 NICs. So 1 NIC just for regular and 2 NICs for the Vm Kernel Adopter and the separate switch. So that's the configuration that we can have right now. And this guy has to be VOM updated as well. So that's very good to see that update manager. When you're adding a new hypervisor, you can have the VOM updated hypervisors. So must be VOM updated because the other 2, ESXi1 and 2, are already VOM updated, right? So I will have to VOM update, or we will have to VOM update this one. For that, the whole VOM procedure will have to be added, have to be done. The ESXi has to be added there. and that was the last week lab, right? So we just implemented all those, and you have to go take it down to the maintenance mode, and then so attach the baseline to it. So attach baseline and maintenance mode, right? So it will be having these much changes there. So we need to let's keep going ahead with this now, and once we have set up this hardware, then we are ready to actually and create a vSAN on top of that. The A record of we need to still create A record for E6I03. We need to give a static IP there also. I think 7 or 8 is available. 192.168.200.8 and 255.255.255.0 and 192.168.200.1 as a gateway, 192.168.200.1 as a preferred DNS, right? So that's a mega lab, but that's as critical. So we need to make sure that that everything goes well, hopefully. If there are so many errors, suppose there are errors, then I can still show you the previous class recording where but all the concepts will be very clear, even if the error comes, then but I will still be able to show you the previous class recording where everything went well and down to the last step. But hopefully we will not have any errors here. So errors do not ask permission, they just come. So hopefully we're good. It's a live step-by-step lab, so anything could happen, but I'll make sure that it goes smooth. So what we need to do first, so I'm just gonna go for the steps there. The first step would be that vSAN lab, and that steps would be shut down. So let me just check that what is my server 2 RAM there. So you're kidding me, 16 GB. Okay. Oh, last time, guys, did I update my Vm environment there? Seriously? I think I did the last lab on Japinder's machine. I did the last lab on his machine, right? Uh, so I need to go down to my. If I did not update at all from Vm, then I don't need to update the third machine to Vm as well. Ha! But if you have done that, so you have to update the third machine with the same steps. Oh, I didn't exactly. So these mean that oh, seriously, this was coming before as well. And that's why I had errors. So I had shut it down. I then restarted it, and if I keep refreshing, oh, seriously, this means I have to again connect to somebody else's machine, which has Vm, because I need to show you then the Vm as well. Huh. I am having exactly the same error. Oh, Mustafa. Okay. High five then. So, what was I doing? 16 GB. I raised it to 16 GB. Restart the server too. Yeah. So, well, yeah. I was looking for again a volunteer. Maybe his name starts with J and ends with H, and so we can just do those labs. Oh, but the problem number 2 is that it cannot be. Yes, exactly. RAM. Anyone has 32 GB RAM and Vm done or Vm not done, but vCenter is working. Yikes, that's not good. Well, we can do another 2 labs as well today instead of vSAN, but vSAN we can still do next week. So I've just logged into server 2 here. what's wrong with my vCenter here? Now it has just logged in, so that's gonna take some time. But I'm worried about if the vCenter doesn't work, then or it has some issues. I have to troubleshoot that. Until then, I'll try. So E6i01 is already 4 GB. I'm just gonna shut down E6i01. My E6i02 is already shut down, so I'm just gonna change its RAM. So I'm just gonna still start preparing the lab, and I'll wait 10 minutes here for vCenter to start the services. So I'm shutting down E6i01. So as per our lab requirement, I'm just gonna go for. So Mehmood is saying, do we have a class next week? So guys, is this 14th week or 15th? Guys, is it 14th week or 15th? It's 14th, right? Yeah. So we have 15th week class. Yeah, we have a 15th week class. So okay, guys. Here, vSAN for the lab we need minimum 3 hours. Yeah. So 14 here. I'll quickly go for this A6i. Not this lab. So this lab. So I'll be shutting down A6i 1 and 2, and I'll be creating A6i 3 now. So I'll try to go faster now. So I have to have 6 GB RAMs on A6i 1 A6i 2 now, right? So I'll go for A6i1 is shut down, and A6i1 I'll go for 6 GB. I'll click that. So it's 6208, and I'll go for A6i2 4 GB. Wow. (6208). I'm also going to add 2 disks there to the A6i1, A6i2, because we need 2 new disks, and on top of these 2 new disks, we will be creating vSAN. So I'll click add button here, hard disk, next. I'll just put, because it's thin provision and we need to identify as well, I'm gonna put 500 GB here and single file. Next, if anyone's falling, let me know, otherwise it's a demo, so I'm going a bit faster. So hard disk, next 500 GB single file. So that's 2 disks, 500 GB each, being added to E6i1. So I'll press OK, and 6 GB already done on E6i2. I'll just go and add 2 disks, 500 GB each, thin provision and single file. So add hard disk, next 500 here, single file, next, finish, and then add, and next 500. Why 500? Just to identify. You can put 300, 400, 200, doesn't matter. And done. Okay, so 2 hypervisors, one and 2, are both 6 GB RAM, and both have 2 new disks, raw disks. We don't need to format them. There is no formatting in E6i. Well, when we add them, we can just create data store. At that time, it gets formatted, right? So they are just 2 raw disks now. So I'm going to go for third hypervisor now, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to home button here and create new virtual machine here, and go next. Well, I'll go back here and I'll choose the installer disk image file and browse. And I just need to go for the software of the VMvisor. Next, and the naming convention was ESXi03 now. Serious. I just want the same exact name, so I'll just copy the name from here. Options, copy the name, and it is on D. Okay, I'll put the third one on D. Create new virtual machine. Next, and again, I'll just go for Vm Software. Next, and I'll paste that name here. It's just 36i03 now, right? And 16 March is okay. In my case, I'm just putting it in D drive in my. Okay, so next, and this hypervisor, I'm just gonna put the local disk as 200 GB for the hypervisor itself and single file. Next, customize hardware. So then I'm going for 6208 2 processor and custom VMnet 15, right? We put it on VMnet 15. So Mark's gonna communicate with all those. I'll click finish, and I'm going fast here so I could reach that stage where I can show you the vSAN. It's tricky, and there's that other fear here that my vCenter better work. If it doesn't work, then we're kind of stuck here with this. Then I could quickly start at 2 more labs instead of this and do this next week, but hopefully I would try to troubleshoot. So it was supposed to work. Oh, maybe it's the cached. Sometimes it's saying client reps are initializing, which means services in the background are starting, right? So I'll leave it at that, and I'll go to 6i3 here, which is starting. I'll try to make sure that my all other products are closed, so they're not using RAM here. And okay, and try to just stop watching all the movies in the background, Netflix, everything, right? Just kidding. Okay, so yeah, so anyone going for the lab? Oh, Mariam is oops. Now I'm trying this while making sure that my vCenter better be working, otherwise this effort will be. Okay, it's still refreshing. And Adobe Flash Player. I'll try to just add my second NIC here to download that Adobe Flash Player. Okay, it's 6 GB. That's seriously, because this is Ethernet 0 is not even loading. So when it loads, I'll just enable the internet there, and so while this is going on, I'll just make sure that E6i3 is configured. Okay, enter, and F11. So I guess it's just me who's doing the lab, but guys, we decided on that, and it's critical topic. Yes, you want to see it firsthand here and understand each and every step or the concepts behind, or you want me to do some of the lab, but it's already 1 hour, and it is, again and again I'm saying, it's critical. So even if you had to sit back and try to see it, then still it's really important to understand the concepts. Once you understand, any interview you can at least answer. Okay, so Ethernet loaded on server 2. I'm going to server 2. I'm enabling Ethernet. I need internet connection on server 2 here. Why? Because I need to download that Flash Player thing again. flash player thing. Oh, okay. I'll just go for it's blocked. Allow and reload. Internet is there now. Okay, we're good. Woohoo! Yay! Woo-wee. Okay, so I'm just gonna go for administrator. Add Vsphere. Vsphere dot local, and it's terribly slow now. Small ABC 123 and without shift 123, and press enter. So Jupinder says, do we need to enter E6i3 details in vCenter? Jupinder, we have to in vCenter. Yeah, we have to add it, join it to, just like we added the two other hypervisors. You have to join the E6i3 as well to the vCenter, because the vSAN feature is part of the cluster. So just like DRS, just like HA, so it is centrally available for vCenter. So it needs to know the host being there. So you have to add the host. And while vCenter is logged in, I'm going to go back to E6i3 here, and E6i3 is being loaded now. So some of us are actually silently following the lab, which is very good. I salute you guys. You guys are very dedicated, and you guys are very smart. But you have to become a group to do all the certifications one by one. AWS, Azure, VCP, all these certifications, and Office 365 if you want, if you can, at least one. Okay, so while E6i3 is still loading, I'm going to go back to server 2 and check that it's IT, right? So we normally multitask. Hopefully your understanding is also multitasking, like you're understanding what's going on, what I'm doing in E6i3, what am I doing in server 2, and what is our overall objective here. And overall objective is E6i 1, 2, 3. Right now I haven't started E6i 1 and 2 because it's still I'm trying to go for vCenter configuration, that it's just logged in, and I'm installing E6i3, so I'm just saving all the RAM here. And when E6i3 is ready and joined to server 2, its A record is created in server 1, then it's Vm updated, then I'm going to start E6i 1 and 2 as well. So yeah, so Jabez is saying, what is the lockdown mode for E6i3? So it will be, yeah, it's good to not configure it now, because later we have to not configure it anyway. So we have to change it to disable, so better not enable it now. Wow, hey, you're ahead of me, that's not fair. Okay, so let's go ahead. So server 2 is there, and so guys, do ask me, whichever stage you are, go ahead and ask me, don't be shy. And I salute you for your dedication, and please do ask questions about any concepts that come your way, because there will be new terminologies coming your way now. You have to understand the terminology there as well. Okay, 6i3. Wow, it's less RAM, or why is it so CLO task manager performance? CPU is 100%. Okay, I have to close every browser now. Browser Chrome does take a huge amount of, takes big RAM. So each tab in the browser is taking RAM as well, right? So See, each tab I'm closing and it's giving me more RAM. Okay, so I'll just check that. Server 2. Oh, thank God. Okay, I'm logged in. So E6i3. Whoa, it's still. I think it shoots up from 27% here. So hopefully we'll get that done. Okay, so Jabinder says it will take 10 minutes to install. 10 minutes? Alright, so server 2 here, and it says the machines are disconnected here. And what I can do right now, I'll just close this, make it bigger, and in vCenter, what I'm trying to do is I'm just checking everything is okay or not. So I'll go for host and clusters here, host and cluster here, and you can see that it's already saying, hey, where's your hypervisors here? So uh, we know that the hypervisors both I haven't started yet, so it's just saying that, hey, that's not good. The video says how to add data stores to HXI3 in vCenter. How to add data stores. Japinder, we don't need to add LUNs there. We don't need to add data stores there. So, wow, you're way ahead. I think you have a supercomputer. So, no, so you have installed the hypervisor. Just add it to the TorDC and the cluster, and make sure the two network cards are there, the two disks are there, and the A record is there. Oh, all done? You're kidding me, man. What is right with you, man? You're like flying. Okay, so that's very good. So yeah, then please wait for me because we need to carefully go for, hey, the two network cards as well, right? Maybe you added that too. Okay, A6i3 is reaching Z 90%. While A6i1 and 2, I really want to actually start them, really. But this A6i3 is taking its time to really connect. So the attached baseline maintenance mode. Oh yeah, if you remember the Vm update, because I didn't do Vm updates on these two, so I'll be missing this step of Vm updates. Or I can try now to Vm update all three, but that's gonna take a long time, right? This is a vSAN lab, not a Vm lab. Vm lab is already done, and you know very well how to do a Vm. So, Japinder, if you, yeah, it's not if your machines had Vm configured, then you have to follow and update this with the Vm. So put that E6i3, add it to the baseline of Vm, and then just remediate the way we did. But before that, put it to maintenance mode, then remediate. No more updates done there. Okay, cool. Then you're good. Okay, HumberCloud. Ah, that's why. So, okay, so it's final reboot here for A6i3. And E6i2. So while it is the final reboot, I need to start E6i1 now as well, and E6i2 as well. And that's going to make my CPU scream out loud, and memory is also screaming now. So CPU is saying that, are you kidding me? 5 virtual machines? Are you for real? It's saying all that. So let me just close the final hypervisors of the browser there as well. So pretty much the whole Chrome is gone now. So I had some critical emails open there. So it was the Chrome. Well, okay. Okay, and the RAM is also really reaching the top. It has reached 31. No, it has reached 26. Okay, out of 32. So guys, my suggestion is again and again try to plan for a 32 GB RAM laptop and or 64 GB laptop. Okay, so Jabir says how many network cards and disks for E6i3? So two extra disks for E6i3, and if you have added the two disks 500 GB, so same size for E6i3, and two network cards, like total three network cards in E6i3, total three network cards. So this is a diagram. In fact, I did not put the diagram yet here on because I'll be still adding more stuff to it as I progress in my lab. But this is the main diagram that I'll put it on. So down all hypervisors, and I put it in the diagram and do what is shown in the diagram. So guys, even if you're not able to do that here, make sure that you at least once do that in vCloud or in your lab somehow. One day, Monday or Sunday, when you increase the RAM or get access to a bigger machine. Okay, my E6i2 is up, E6i1 is up, and E6i3 is up as well. Yay! So E6i3 needs to be configured with what? With these settings. So I'm going to give the IP and name, and then I'm going to add its A record to the DNS. So the usual settings that we did before. Then two disks are there, but three NICs are not there, and NICs, when we add, they do require restart. So I'll just go for 3 A6i3 and go inside. Hopefully everyone understands what's going on here. Try to pay attention, but I understand that, yeah, when we are sitting and relaxing, I mean, doing the lab, it's kind of really hard to concentrate, but it would be very good for you if you did concentrate. Set static IPv4 address, so I'll just go for 192.168.200. Okay, maybe we won't use 8. I'm just assuming that. Assuming anything in IT is suicide. Saying that, I'm still assuming, seriously. 192.168.200.1 is the gateway. Press enter once. 5. Okay, you gave 5, which is good. Yeah. If the main thing is if we didn't use this IP in our environment, that's good. So I'm gonna go for press enter here, and then to save it, and then I'm gonna go DNS configuration, and I'll go for primary DNS server, which is 192.168.200.1, and then the local ghost name is ESXi03. Enter. Saves it. Custom DNS suffix. Enter. And that is what I am forgetting now. Our domain name is your first name domain.local. Second thing, VMnet 15. Why didn't my DHCP work? DHCP should have given IPs to E6i3. So I'll check. Oh, it's VMnet 1, that's why. And I gave here VMnet 15. Seriously, that's why. So it was not communicating. My DHCP would have given all this information, right? So it's VMnet 1. Okay, anyway, so it's your first name domain.local. Enter. And double checking again, DNS E6i03 200.1, IPv4 200.8 or 200.1. Okay, we're good. So I'm just gonna press escape once, and it's going to ask, hey, you want to restart the network management network service? Yes, that management network service, and yes, and it's saved. That is that service which is from VM kernel by default, first service that is installed, right? Okay, so 3 is on the 3 side, it is ready. Still 2 network cards need to be added, but I'm gonna go for server 1, and I'll open the tools and open DNS here, and go for forward lookup zone here, and right click here and go for new host. So it's ESXi03, tab, and then 192.168.200.8 in my case. and add. Okay, done. So okay, ECXi03 is 8 now, and I'll go for server 1 and refresh just a few million times. Okay, done. So ECXi3 IP is ready. It needs to be added to vCenter now. The two hypervisors are saying hi to me. Hello, hey, hello. Okay. So then I'm just gonna go to Tor cluster. We can add it directly to a Tor cluster, or we can add it to Tor DC, and then from there add it to Tor cluster. So Tor cluster, if we go, I'm just writing on Tor cluster and add host. Hopefully it just gets added the first time. So ESXi03 dot your first name domain dot local, enter, and root is the username, and small abc capital abc shift123 is the passport. Yeah, you know those total beginners from in IT, sometimes they ask, sir, what is the passport of that? Then I correct, hey, it's not passport, it's password. And whew, okay, thank God. So yes, the passport was okay. And next, so yeah, we're not enabling this because then later we have to come back and disable it. We still have to disable it, the lockdown mode for ECXi1 and ECXi2 as well. So I'm just gonna click next and add it without lockdown mode, which is not a good idea, but just for this lab and for adding vSAN only. Next, and finish. So our friend recent task is saying it is 80%. So it's kind of okay. While this is going on, I'm going to go for ECXi1 and disable lockdown mode here as well. So I'll just show you what's going on as well. So disable lockdown mode temporarily. So this is being done on all three, right? Disable lockdown mode. So temporarily on all three. So 3, it's already disabled, and I'm gonna go for ECXi1. Go to F2 here, and root small abc shift123. Go down to configure management network, enter, and oh, sorry, escape. Yeah, here enabled. It is enabled. So configure. Press enter here, and press the space bar and press enter. So it is disabled. Escape. It's okay. And ECXi2, same thing. Small abc shift123. Oh, how to do it from vCenter? Oh yeah, we have to go to security for that. Okay, let me just disable that. Enter and escape. So server 2, if I go to ECXi1 and go to configure and how to do the lockdown mode disabling from vCenter, so ECXi1 configure, and if you go way down, there's services option somewhere here. Power management, processor, memory, host profiles, security profile, this one. Security profile, so configure ECXi1 security profile. And yeah, there's a lockdown mode here. So click at it, and so yeah, that's a lockdown mode. So it updated here for me, disabled, but we can click edit here. And yeah, disabled. So you can disable here and press OK. Okay, guys. So that's great. And ECXi3 is here, and since I did not really vm'd it, so so it's not vm'd. Wow, what a way to say it. So maybe no, I was not able to install it, right? So I'm gonna check my home button here. I don't intend to vm it if even if I have that. vomit, like vomit. Okay, so yeah, I should not say vomit or vomit. So, but yeah, I never was able to finish this process. Okay, last time. So all three are on the same update level, which is not the latest update level, but they are same update level. That's the crucial thing to know. Okay, so a record created and A6i3 has been added. The thing that is remaining, if I go back to the diagram to check my progress here, so all RAM has been given here, and why did I say one new disk? It's two new disks here, which I added. So two new disks have been added here, here. Three NICs have, or two extra NICs have not been added by me till now. And I don't need this, but you will need that if you have updated the first two. The third one must be on the same level, but I don't need it for now because I told you already. So I'm gonna go for this NICs. This is not done. I'll just add two extra NICs there. So I'll go to A6i3 here, right click, and go to settings here, and then I have to restart actually. So, and then I'm gonna click add, and then network adapter, finito. It is on NAT. I'll put it on VMnet1 or host only, and then go for add again, network adapter, finito, host VMnet1, and now all three are on VMnet1, which is good for me. Now they've been added, but I need to restart them. Restart the A6i3, restarting it. Okay, so server 2 here. Now what we need to do. So if we go for our prereqs here in the PowerPoint here, so I'll just copy these prereqs in here as well. Okay, 36 I added, A record added, vSAN, 2 vCenter it was added, 6 GB added to all as a RAM, Vm Kernel Port, okay, this one. It needs 3 more IP addresses, 3 more new static IP addresses. 2 new disks added, yes. Oh, it doesn't say 2 network cards, but 2 network cards, just for best practices, and same configuration level on all 3. We're doing that, right? So, okay, so I'm just waiting for it to restart. So it's added with 3 network cards. Now we're gonna add the Vm Kernel Adopter. Remember that Vm Kernel Adopter adds advanced features, right? So this is a very advanced feature actually. So we're gonna go for the Vm Kernel Adopter addition to A6i1, A6i2, A6i3, right? So A6i3 is still and started still ting and now tid. Okay, so guys, at 8:10 or 8:11 there's a big break coming, 20 minutes for those who also okay, anyway, so now here it's not responding, but I want it to be responding. What we're going to do is we're going to add the Vm Kernel Adopter, right? So I'm going to refresh here. I'll make it bigger now. Okay, third one is there as well, which is good. So I'm going to go to the first one, and I'm going to add so Mahmoud's saying 30 minutes, not 20 minutes. Okay, so A6i01 here, and A6i01 is we're gonna go to the configure of A6i01, and we're gonna go down to the networking, and we will go to Vm Kernel Adopters, right? Vm Kernel Adopters. So I'll just now see that we have added 2 advanced features, fault tolerance and vMotion. We added 10 and 11 for vMotion as a static IP for the Vm Kernel Adopter. We use 12 and 13 static IP for fault tolerance. Now we're gonna add, so 12, 13 was used, right? So 14, 15, 16 will be used for the VM kernel adopters for all three hypervisors now. So 14, 15, 16 as static IPs. So E6i1, let's go for add host networking here, add host networking, and then VM kernel network adopter, obviously, next. So just for best practices, we're still going to go for new standard switch here. You don't have to do that. You can still add it to any existing switch, but let's go for new standard switch. Next. And I'll be adding 2 new network adopters for best practices, although we can use 1. And next. So we have to do that on all 3 hypervisors. Next. And here, so what are we adding? Now, first of all, we're gonna type it vSAN, right? And second thing is, it is the vSAN replication that, it's the vSAN here, this one. So vSAN, and actually vSAN does, this is not vSAN, the Vsphere replication. What's wrong with me? So there's that vSAN here, we selected. So vSAN and vSAN here. That's all. Simple, right? Next. And the static IP was, I think, 14, 15, 16. So this is 14, 192, 168, 200.14, and 255, 255, 2550. And that's it. So next. Finish. So it's being added in E6i1. I'm going to go to the same view on E6i2 and add host networking here as well. Next, new standard switch. Next, 2 network cards as a best practice. And OK. Next, vSAN as a name and vSAN as that service, advanced service. Next, the 15 will be the IP for the second one, 192.168.200.15, tab 255, 255, 2550. So it's 200.15 here. Next, finish. Then I'm going to go for 14, 15, 16, so third is 16. So I'm going to go for third one now, and it doesn't have actually fault tolerance, third one. It doesn't have vMotion, but just for vSAN, we don't need those two, right? We don't need those two for vSAN only. So I'm going to go to add host here, Vm Kernel Adopter. Next, new standard switch. Next, and 2 NICs are available here, which is good. And OK, VMNIC 0 is already dedicated for just the machine, the hypervisor. The 2, these one are just dedicated for vSAN. And vSAN here. Next. That's it. Next and finish. See, that was so fast. Wow. Okay, so it's being added here and done, I guess. So we can go back to the prereqs here. So add Vm Kernel Port for all 3 hosts, yes, done. Add 2 unit is already done. And let's enable, so we're actually at that stage where we're gonna enable vSAN now. Yay! I forgot. I didn't have it. Just really 3, and oh yeah, it has. Oh, thank you guys. Ooh, scary. It got an IP address from. Okay, there's the IP port setting. Oh, sorry about that, and thank you for reminding me. So it's 16. And press ONK. I think that's it, right? Yeah. Right. No snapshots today. like you can take your guys. Everyone has to take a selfie, and you have to be smiling there, right? So that will be the snapshot for today. And those who are doing the lab, you can take random snapshots, random 5 snapshots there. The rest, just give your smiley and put in the document and upload. If you're sad, then you will get 0. If you're smiling, you will get full marks, right? So that would be the main thing. So you better be smiling now. So take a selfie, upload, put it in the document and upload for today. So let's go ahead. Yeah, see? So smile. If you're smiling, full marks, right? See? If you're laughing, I still have to think. Should I give bonus marks or not? Okay, so we're done with the 3 Vm Kernel adopters now, and if we just go through all the prereqs there, so yeah, we're pretty much there now. So everything done. I think vSAN is ready to be configured. So I'm gonna go for. I'll make it bigger. So vSAN lives inside cluster, just like DRS or the HA, fault tolerance, EVC, right? So if we go to the Tor cluster and we go to configure here, and there's configuration in the configuration, and that's just configuration here, and all the services are here. Oh, hey, we can collapse that. Seriously. Okay, that's it. So Tor cluster here, and did we expand all the? So I'm going to go to configurations now, and that's the general configuration. There's Vsphere, DRS, and oh, seriously? Yeah, I'm going to right click here on Tor cluster itself, and go for all vCenter. What am I missing here, guys? So when we go to Tor cluster, so summary, let me just check that. Now I'm just gonna go for everything. Oh yeah, so HA, virtual machine memory usage. Okay, so there are some errors here. Acknowledge, Vsphere HA, operation members. You can see vSAN, right? But I have some errors here. I'll click configure again, and I'll refresh it. And yeah, maybe I disabled some of the options that might not let me see. So vSphere, yeah, everything is turned on. DRS turn on. How come I'm missing here? This is not possible. Okay. So I'll just refresh this again, or I'll sign out, sign in. So Japinder can see vSAN, but I cannot. So I'm on Tor cluster, I'm on configure. So Japinder, you're on Tor cluster and you're on configure, right? Obviously that's where normally it is, and all of a sudden it just played a trick on me. So I'm just gonna go click here and log out. And I'll just log in again. Vsphere dot local small ABC equals to shape 123 without shape 123 and Tor. That's the first time in my life and seeing that vSAN is actually not there. They're kidding me. And it entered the vCenter after a long struggle. Okay, so since I just closed the whole Chrome, That was taking huge amount of RAM. So I think it's a bit faster than before. Ooh, okay. Really reached the level. I'm also recording. That's why. Okay, it's loading again. And I'll make it bigger. I really don't want to restart it, but it might come down to that. Hopefully not. And vSAN is there. Woohoo! Yay! Woo-wee. Okay. So yeah, we just had to sign out, sign in here. So there's the vSAN here, and there's the General here. So I'm just gonna click General. And did you actively click the cluster? Oh, actively. Okay, so yeah, but it's there. Yeah, but I could have actively clicked the cluster, but I didn't get it. What do you mean actively? So double click or triple click or triple click. All right, guys. So this is the battleground where we fight. So vSAN capabilities are here. Select how you want your vSAN cluster to behave. So deduplication and compression. So compression, we all know that it just compresses the data to save disk space. But anyone knows what is deduplication? Anyone knows what's deduplication? Ever heard of that before? Deduplication? Yes. Oh, okay. So you did hear about it. Okay, that's very good. So what did you hear about that? So deduplication is omit the duplicate blocks. Ah, yes. Okay. So Mariam says omit the duplicate blocks, and Linux defragmentation. Yeah. Well, no. Defragmentation is a bit something else. So I'll just put the chat up there, and I'll just quickly go for it. Suppose you have a disk there, and that disk. Wow, what a bad color. So I'll just go for a better color here. Avoiding multiple copies of data by keeping pointers to duplicate. Ah, there you go. So this means that you all know deduplication here, but let me just explain in English as well. Oh, Munir says e-duplication removes redundant data blocks, whereas compression removes additional redundant data within each data block. Okay, that's very good. That's yeah, very good explanation there. So, okay, guys, suppose this is a disk there, and we have put data here, and after suppose that was a movie called Independence Day. Hey, that was my favorite, right? Okay, Independence Day was a movie, and you put that MP4 file here, and then after 6 months, oh, you found oh, there's an MP4, MP3 of MP4 of Independence Day. You put it there as well in another folder, and then oh, there's another. Oh, I think I don't have it. So after 1 year, you find it somewhere else. Oh, you put it here as well. So now deduplication just checks that it is exactly the same data here, exactly the same file size, exactly same structure there. So why don't I just remove these two and put shortcuts or pointers to these two areas here, and put the exact file, one file having this which is occupying the actual disk space and having some size there. So it will be there, and others will be pointers. Suppose the user goes to this pointer here, so the user double click that, so it points to the actual file which is in some other subfolder, and it opens for you. So definitely deduplication saves a lot of space this way if there are so many similar files there in the disk, right? So there's KMS cluster, and KMS cluster is with encryption. So encryption is obviously that you encrypt data, which means that it's not readable anymore, and decryption. So if you do encryption of the data on this data store that is spanning on all the three hypervisors, then you can save it on the key management server cluster or KMS cluster. So it saves the encryption and decryption keys that will be used to encrypt, decrypt all the data in virtual machines which are going to be placed on this vSAN. So we're not using deduplication and compression, we're not using encryption here. And so when we go down here, fault domains and stretch cluster. So do not configure Well, actually, we don't need this, but we can still understand this. So configure two host vSAN cluster. So it says here that we can have two hosts at one site and a witness host. So it still say two hosts, but it's actually three hosts. A witness host at another site. Witness host contains only metadata and does not participate in storage operations. The witness host cannot be used to run VMs. So what does that say in English now? So what they're saying that suppose you have one site here, or actually that's for stretch cluster. I'm already creating that. So suppose you have one branch here, and there are two hosts here, and two hypervisors here, and you still create a third hypervisor that is just a witness. So witness, maybe you've heard that a lot in MCSA as well, and in MCSA you have failover cluster, and it has a witness. So witness does what? There is only one job that witness does. Anyone knows what is that job? Witness does just one job. It witnesses. Anyone knows? Ever heard of witnesses before? Not in the court of law, but here. So witnesses, it takes oath to tell the truth. Exactly. Okay. So and it doesn't tell the truth, right? After that. So let's add that too. But yes, it takes the jo kahunga, such. Oh, okay, just kidding. So yeah, I was just this was an encrypted language. We used to see that in movies of Amitabh Bachchan and all others. Maybe you haven't heard of this guy as well. So I'm just talking encrypted language right now. So here, witness, when you see that, it is all about heartbeat. So the and heartbeat, I'm sure you know what is that. So when the heart beats, this is called heartbeat. No, just kidding. So here, witness makes sure that the two hosts are up and running, and if one of the host is crashed, then the witness wakes up, the hey, you, the other host, you're it now, so wake up. So passive becomes active because of witness. Suppose witness is not watching, maybe there's a communication error there, and the witness is not keeping a watch, and active goes down, so it does not fail over to passive or the other vSAN. Or so this means that if you want to have two host cluster, then you must have a witness there. So if the one host crashes, then the virtual machines will be running on the other host. So that is file share. There is called file share witness. There is called witness with a quorum, disk witness with a quorum. If you have done MCSA 2016 or 2012, normally we do a 4-hour lab of failover cluster, and then we create witness quorum, disk witness quorum as well. Okay, so this is for this scenario, right? So configure two hosts. What about the configure stretch cluster? Stretch cluster exactly is like that, but it is stretched, which means what? So you have actually three branches here, and the third branch actually has the witness host. So now this is on large scale, obviously, and this is the witness is in touch with the group of cluster of hosts. This is now cluster of hosts here, right? 3 4 here, 2 or 3 here, or 10 or 20 here, or 200 or 100 here, but the witness just keeps an eye on both. And on one branch there's a copy here, and on the other branch the whole virtual machines are running, and it's again doing the same thing that it was doing in one branch. Now it's expanded to multiple branches, that if the whole site level outage is there, then the machines will fail over. This means there will be asynchronous replication going on here. Suppose it's the active here and passive here, and the machines will be updated. So witness will just say that, or it will redirect all the end users connections that are connecting to this branch, and if there's a branch level outage, they will be connecting to this branch where the machines will be activated. So we don't need HDD on witness, Maya is saying. Well, because we're not creating vSAN in vSAN for the witness server, you have to install vSAN, but the storage operations will not work, which means that you don't need a SSD HDD combination. Yes, you're right. So storage operations do not happen on witness server. So if you have suppose all SSDs or all HDDs, it's okay. But with others, now you're going to see that you need actually one SSD and one HDD. I'm going to show you how to get HDD. Suppose you don't have HDD, right? And you only have SSD. So that's a configured stretch cluster, right? So it just goes on large scale. I'm just going to put that as a diagram here. Okay, so then what is fault domain? Now, fault domain is that group hosts that might fail together into a fault domain, so that a failure of all hosts in the fault domain is treated as a single failure. vSAN does not place more than one replica of the same object in the same fault domain. So remember that I was saying that there's a very cool diagram here that I'm going to be coming to. So this is for the fault domain. Now this is the same concept of fault domain that is offered by placement group in AWS, and there's the availability set in Azure. So fault domain is a concept actually in placement group in AWS. When you're creating EC2 instances, they don't actually mention that, but it's kind of that same concept. But in Azure availability set, they do mention that too. So fault domain is what? It assumes that okay, I'll just make diagrams on top of that. So fault domain is that there is rack 1 here, right? And this is a rack that has multiple servers on that, right? And then that there is rack 2 here, and it has some rack servers as well. Where are the rack servers? These are the rack servers, right? Rack server 1, rack server 2, rack server 3, rack server 1, 2, 3 here. So, and these rack servers, racks and rack servers are considered as, saw the definition there? Group hosts together to create a fault domain. So a group of these hosts will be considered as one fault domain. A group of these hosts will be considered as one fault domain. So why are we grouping them? It depends on, we have already talked about SPOF here. So anyone can quickly tell me what is SPOF? Anyone can quickly tell me what is SPOF? It was in Star Trek. Yeah, I know. The pointy nose guy. Single point of failure, exactly. Yay! So single point of failure, SPOF. So there's a HSPOF. Well, I added the H myself. It is not a recognized terminology, but HSPOF is hardware SPOF, right? So hardware. So what does that mean? It's a single point of failure, a hardware that is a single point of failure. Suppose this UPS is the only source of power supply to this rack with all the rack servers inside, or this hardware switch is the only source of network here. There's no multiple switches that if this fails, it will fail over to another switch. So this means that if this switch goes down, all virtual machines on top of these hypervisors, on top of these physical servers inside the rack. So once the physical switch goes down, everyone is disconnected from these machines, right? Or if this UPS goes down, that was the only source of power supply, then all machines are down. So if there is a hardware SPOF here and a hardware SPOF here, so you can consider a group of hosts having one hardware SPOF or both hardware SPOF here, and another group of servers that have their own power source, that is the only one there, and have their own switch, that is the only one there. So this means they are SPOF or single point of failures there, right? So yes, we should always have more than two, as Shiva is also saying, and we should have two, but it happens that if it is like that, so vSAN is already about small organizations, right? If it was a big organization, they don't need vSAN, they have SAN, right? If you have SAN, then you don't need vSAN, right? vSAN is for small budget. So small budget may not have multiple switches for every rack. So small budget companies, right? So if that's the case, so VMware is saying that, hey, create a fault domain or a group of fault domain. It just means that a group of servers having a hardware spoof, and then fault domain 2, a group of servers having their hardware spoof. So if this rack goes down because of UPS is gone, because of or because of switch is gone, so the virtual machines that you create in this fault domain uh, are going to fail over to the other fault domain where its partner virtual machines will be created. So I should have said that before taking them down. So what happens is, when you define the fault domain, you create a virtual machine in one fault domain. Its partner or replica machine gets created automatically in the other fault domain. And when this fault domain goes down because of the spoof, hardware spoof that is, so the virtual machine just fails over to its replica, and all the end user connections are failed over to this fault domain. So fault domain just means that you are dependent on any one type of hardware, and if it goes down, the whole structure or this rack goes down. So the virtual machine's replica should be created on another fault domain, so it could fail over to. So I hope you understand that what is the purpose of fault domain. So you just create multiple fault domains so your virtual machines are safe, right? If UPS or power goes down, Mahmoud is asking, it will still run on another rack. Well, yes, that means that there is no spoof, right? If the company is a bit poor company and they cannot afford another UPS, it should fail over to another UPS. Yes, that's the case. In large companies, yes, you would see it would the switch will fail over to another switch. But vSAN is for poor companies, right? For companies with less budget. So the companies might have also said that, thank you for removing the requirement of SAN, VMware, but can you also remove the requirement of us having multiple UPS and multiple switches? So VMware says, oh, no problem. You can just create your replica on the other fault domain and you're good. So that's for less budgeted company. Okay, guys. So now that being understood, hopefully. So I'll print screen that. And I pasted it there. So now we understand that, okay, so we can configure two host cluster, vSAN cluster, but that would be that you have to have a witness host as well, or stretch cluster, which just stretches across different 3 sites actually. And fault domains, you know that it depends on the hardware as well. So let's not select anything here and go ahead. Next. And there you go. The error comes. Good news, it works with 16 GB but without server 1. Guys, you can try. Wow, Shiva, I salute you for that. Your dedication is immense, and thank you for sharing. And thank you for really going for it. So, very, very good. So, it works with 16 GB RAM as well, as long as we shut down server 1, and it's okay, it's doable. You just need DNS, but you don't need DNS if you can add the hypervisors with IP. That's all. So that's very good, Shiva. Well done. So that would be extra marks for doing the stunt, and extra marks will be 20 marks more, or 20 will be given, which is just the temperature plus 2 plus 20. So okay, guys. So but salute to you again. So turn off vSphere HA to turn on vSAN. Okay, temporarily we have to turn off vSphere HA. So we need to cancel out from here. We're gonna go to HA. We're gonna turn it off. Then we're gonna come back here, turn it on, and go to the wizard, finish it. Then we're gonna go back there and turn the vSphere HA on again, right? So I'm gonna cancel that because I don't have choice actually. So I'll cancel out and go to Tor cluster, and there yeah, so vSphere availability is on right now. I'm gonna HA is on, so go to edit. So Tor cluster, configure, vSphere availability and edit. Wow, I never reached this lab at this stage in halftime. Wow, demos are really blessings. So turn on vSphere HA and turn on. So I'm just gonna uncheck that and uncheck that. So both vSphere Proactive HA and vSphere HA are unchecked, and I'm gonna press OK. The cluster contains virtual machines with fault tolerance turned on. No fault tolerance operations will be allowed, and a new secondary VM will not be created after failover if vSphere HA is turned off. Do you continue? So obviously fault tolerance depends on HA. Fault tolerance will also not work. We need to know that. Yes, we know that. Okay. So we're going to turn it on back, so fault tolerance will be back again. So for now, we're just turning it off, right? So it is off, and I'm going to go down to vSAN, and we can just go for general. Oh, okay. So why we turn off HA? So that's by design, actually. And vSAN is going to do certain tasks during its configurations that might create false alarms for HA, as if it sees that the machine hypervisor is down, and it's going to try to restart the machines to another hypervisor. So it could be false alarms that could be created because of some of the configurations and operations in the background that will be taking place during the initial configuration of vSAN. So we don't want those false alarms to be going to HA, thinking HA would be thinking, oh, something went down, let me just restart the machine on the other host. So we don't want HA to be hyperactive right now. So that's why I temporarily turn it off, so no false alarms could be going there. And could not connect to vSphere web client. Yeah, it's kicking me out. Will it refresh? No? Yes? Maybe? Okay. So I pressed OK and go ahead. Yeah, so there could be conflict there. So I'm gonna go back to vSAN, general, and configure. So nothing on the first page, but we do understand all the options on the first page. And we click next. Wow, it's just in shock. I did click next, right? Okay. And yeah. Oh, I did click next, right? So, Japinder, Shiva, did it go next for you? Okay, Japinder says yes. Oh, okay. But it's doable. Cool. And Gijin says yes. Oh, so somebody was secretly doing that. Gijin was doing that. Good, good. So now we know 3 are following. How many else are following secretly? You will be given codes now. 007, 006, 005. Oh, okay. So, but I can see only 4 points instead of 8 of yours. 4 points. I haven't gone to the next stage yet. So, oh, okay. These points we're talking about. Oh, these points. I have 8. You have 4. What? So create fault domain. Select witness host. Witness host. I didn't select anything here. Claim disks for witness host. Ready to complete. Okay. So yeah, because we have 3 hosts, right? So one of them will be witness host. Oh, Alexei is falling. Woohoo! Yay! So that's strange, Upinder. Why would you have 4 options? What's going on in vCloud? Hey, what's wrong with it? Did I click next? Obviously I did. Cannot even go back. I know in the background it's still processing. Four. Okay, or you could say also has four options. Okay, why? Did you miss something? Did I overdo something? um, hmm. How can it be four options for you guys and for me, 8 options? 6.5 different versions. Refresh your browser as it gave an error. Oh, okay. So Shalender is also there. Okay, Gyujin, Shalender, Alexei, Shiva, Japinder. 6 people are doing it. Okay, so I'll refresh. Thank you, Shalender, for sharing that. I'm going to refresh the browser. Oops. Advanced. Proceed to server 2. You know that error did came and I should have signed out and signed in. Or refreshed the browser at that time. When the browser level error came, I just kept on going so it stopped. Okay, thank you, Shalender, for sharing that. So guys, even next labs that you were saying, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, I can give you demos of that. It could be fast, you can understand, but it's not going to be fun when you're not doing that, but we'll speed up. There always are previous class videos where I've done those labs anyway, but it's up to you. Okay, I'm refreshing. And I'll try again. So vSAN general configure, turn it on, and so guys, at 8:10 till 20, 30, 35. 35 is okay. 8:13. Yeah, 8:13 till 40. Okay, 8:40. So 8:40, then we'll start again after I'll be okay. Next, so that's why I'm just trying to go ahead a little, but I'm not gonna rush. Come on, man. First you said 40, now you say 43 minutes. Oh, 8:43 you're saying. Alright guys, so then it shows me, oh, okay. So if I go back here, now it's showing me 4 options as well. So, okay, so it's playing tricks on us all, and let's go ahead next. And now it's saying network validation. So it's saying that it can connect to all the hypervisors, which is okay. So far, so good. But it comes down, it gets tricky when it comes down to claim disk, right? So let's just keep going because it's okay. Now, on the claim disks here, oh, are you kidding me? Okay, so on the claim disks here, so we're going to first change this disk model size, and we're going to change it to host level, right? Instead of disk model size, we're going to change it to host level. So you should be seeing 3 hosts here, but all 3 hosts disks should be showing here. And for my ESXi03, it is saying that it is not showing my ESXi03 host disks. So if you expand the ESXi2, you can see the 2 types of disks. And if it goes to ESXi1, then it's showing the 2 types of disks there, right? I have for ESXi03 only. Okay, but so Japinder, for you, ESXi1 and 2 are not showing, but no disks. So yeah, it may not have detected remotely those disks, and this is very crucial that it detects those disks, right? So normally what happens is we can just go to E6, in my case, ESXi3. I'll directly go there to ESXi3. I'm gonna restart that. Right click, power, restart guest. So ESXi3, I'm just gonna restart. Those, did you add disk on ESXi3? Oh, let me check that. And yeah, others as well. And Japinder, I think you did not add it in ESXi1 and 2. The 2 disks. 2 disks that... Guys, I did not add 2 disks in ESXi3. Seriously. Okay. Mustafa, you're genius. Okay, so I'm just gonna go add the 2 disks while it is still restarting. I should have just... Now I'm gonna again restart actually after adding those disks. So 500. I forgot to add it in ESXi3. I think Japinder, you forgot to add it on ESXi1 and 2. Next. Finish. So second disk is added. Add hard disk. Next. 500 GB single file. Oh, okay. So and finish. 500 GB each. Okay. Uh, okay, okay, okay. So guys, I added 2 disks in all these size. Okay, so Japinder, you need to restart. I need to. Okay, my kids are very excited and they are just dragging me towards. We were, yeah, we need to have a break because of the fasting. So I'll just leave it to restart again and. Yes, restart all your exercise. I'm just restarting my exercise 3 after adding the 2 disks. So then, hopefully, this detects while it is on. Otherwise, if it doesn't detect, so we're gonna go once it is fully restarted. Then I will check that if it is detecting the disks. Otherwise, we have to cancel out. We'll go previous on the vSAN, and then we're gonna next if it detects that after it's fully restarted the hypervisor, and then otherwise we'll cancel out and come back here again, right? So guys, this is kind of it. We need to take a break, and the hypervisors need to be restarted as well. So let's take a break and come back at 8:40, right? And then we'll be doing this lab, and then we can just start another lab as well after that. So okay, now it's 8:45, 9 p.m. Are you kidding me? No. It cannot be 9 p.m. So 8:40, 8:45. Ah, okay. So guys, come on. We'll try to come at 8:40, but 8:45. We're trying to come at 8:40. Okay. Resuming in 3, 2, 1. Yay! We're back from the break. Woohoo! Okay. So hopefully it's working for you, and I can see that all you can say is saying it works after restart. Okay, did it work for moi? So, oh, it did, and I didn't even have to click back. Hey, somebody did remotely connect to my machines and did that? No. Okay. So this was not showing a arrow sign here for ECXI3, but now it's showing. So it automatically detected that. Whoa, that's cool. We didn't have to previous or cancel this. So if you are all those who are following are on this page, so I'm going to expand the ECXI2, or we can just put the click here for the name column, and ECXI1 would be on top, 2 would be on second, and third on bottom. So what we can do here is that we can just expand this. So ECXI1 expanded, ECXI2 expanded. Well, okay. Seriously? Is that not expanding? It has an arrow, but oh, it says now ECXI2 says node is detected. Are you kidding me? Should have expanded at that time, but I did expand, I think. Back, and then next. Node is detected. Oh man, should have just restarted ECXI2 before the break. So it is restarting now. Yeah, Japinder, I'm going to be showing now that if it is showing HDD, so one of them has to be SSD detected as SSD, and the other one has to be detected as HDD. So this is a must, and because both of our drives are either HDD or SSD, right? So there's a trick that we need to do now. So that's what I'm gonna show you, but I need my 3 disks to be detected as well. What it says that my disks are not marked with F letter. Is it okay? Okay, that's what I'm gonna show you. So that button fools the, okay, let me show you here because my disks are still to be detected. So here what happens, guys, if you select a disk, okay, so it's gonna detect now A6i2, while I'm just gonna go for A6i1 here. So what we need to do is we need to any one of the hypervisor, you need to detect first disk here, right? And then it is showing flash for both. Suppose it's showing HDD for both as well. So we're gonna click this do not claim, right? We're gonna click that do not claim, and there you have to say that one of the disks will be used as a cache tier to cache the data, or just save the data locally for fast access later. So I'm going to click cache tier here for the first disk, and I'm going to go here and click it has to be a different disk, right? So what we need to do is we can detect that, we can select that disk here, and really, oh, I'm seeing an error here. E6i, no capacity disks have been selected. Select at least one capacity disk. Okay, because I need to show you there is a F button that appears there. So let me just show you that here in this disk. Because my setup is still, oh, now it detects my A6i2 as well. Okay, good. Now I'm in shape. So you see the F button? Yeah, I should also be seeing the F button, but I think my all three hypervisors were not there. So I'm going to expand all the disks now. Expand 2, expand 3. They all should be showing like this. Now we can go ahead and try to further detect it. So first of all, the first step is we need to select this, and they are showing flash to me. Normally there's a button here that lets you change the drive type. Suppose they're both SSD, so you can select one of them and select that button, and it will change the one to SSD, one SSD to HDD, right? Oh yeah, you can see that, right? So and the other one, so one of them has to be SSD, one of them has to be HDD. Exactly. So what you're gonna do is, I don't see that button, so I'm gonna cancel out from here, and then I'm gonna come back here. So I'm gonna click flash here, and if you see the button here, so well, you don't have to change one to flash. One of the two should be flash. Other one, when you go there, just select that button, and it will change the drive type to HDD. So this button here that you're not seeing in my screen, but in others they are seeing that screen, and I'm going to show you that shortly. That there's a button supposed to be here that simply changes the drive type to HDD, fooling the vSAN into thinking that we have one SSD and one HDD. The main idea behind this is that it fools the HDD into thinking that one is SSD and one is HDD. So one is SSD and one is HDD, right? So what happens here is that I'm just gonna click. So we have to. One of them has to be flash. One of them has to be HDD. One of them has to be flash. One of them has to be HDD. Yes, exactly. So one has to be marked as flash. Other has to be marked as HDD. So I'm just gonna go back here and back, and then next, and then next, and then select the disk. So it's not letting me, so I'm just going to cancel out from here. I'm going to start that wizard again. In fact, I'm going to refresh the whole thing. If both flash, it will not work. Yes. If both flash, it will not work. So general and configure. So Japinder is showing a screenshot here, and I'll drag it here. Okay. So yes, one is marked as HDD, other is marked as flash. Exactly, that's what we want. Then we're gonna go to do not claim, whichever is. We're gonna click the do not claim. If it is HDD, select data. If it is flash, select cache tier. The do not claim here, right? That's the next step we're gonna do. So I'll just put it back here. Okay, I'm just gonna next, and then I'll go for host mode here, group by host. Then I'll expand that. Oh, now I see the buttons. Okay, good. So see this? So one disk I'm gonna select, and there are these buttons here. So one has to be HDD, one has to be flash, right? If HDD, then so let me just show you now because I'm there as well. So one I'm gonna keep as flash, either the above one or the below one, doesn't matter. So and the second one I'm selecting here, I'm clicking it HDD. So we are fooling the vSAN into thinking, oh, one is a hard disk and one is flash. Now I'm gonna get configured. So vSAN thinks that, oh, one of the while in our case both are actually SSD, but we are just fooling the vSAN into thinking that one is HDD, one is SSD. So then it will, sometimes it does not detect the SSD as well. So I'm just gonna first do that. Keep the first one is flash and other as HDD. If you have kept the above one as HDD and below one as flash, it's also okay. Now I'm going to, first we marked it like that, right? Second thing is we're gonna go to do not claim, which is written. I'm gonna click that. For flash, I'm gonna select cache tier, and for HDD, I'm gonna select capacity tier. So sorry, it was not data, it was capacity tier. So capacity tier means that the HDD is slow, so it's going to be used just for saving data. Cache tier is where the data IOPS, input output data per second, right? So all the frequently used data will be put on flash. All the less frequently used data or just storing data there will be used, HDD will be used for that. Capacity tier option for HDD, cache tier option for flash. Oh, so you say you can only see capacity tier 4. HDD has to be only capacity tier, flash only has to be cache tier. Japinder. So
I only see capacity tier option. There is no cache tier option for me.
Okay, then again you have to cancel out from here, refresh your browser, and even sign out, sign in from the vCenter just like I did, and come back here. It should be just showing both. Okay, so here flash cache tier, HDD capacity tier, right? So now I'm going to go for second one here, flash cache tier. So all the frequently used data will be placed here on vSAN, and HDD capacity tier, all the less frequently used data will be placed on this part of the vSAN data store. So I'm going to go for flash cache tier and marked as HDD capacity tier, right? So this needs to be seen. Configuration correct. Okay, so far so good. Configuration correct, right? So cache tier, capacity tier, and mark as HDD, and mark as HDD, mark as HDD. If that all is done, only then you can go ahead. Sorry, I didn't get the reason. So Shiva is asking the reason for marking the flash. So first of all, you mark one of them as HDD because that's by design. vSAN has to know that there has to be one SSD, there has to be second as HDD, at least one other has to be HDD, right? And second thing is, if it is flash drive, SSD drive is used for more input output read and write. So cache tier just means that you cache some data. Cache just means locally saving something for faster access, so cache tier can only be configured on flash disk, which is known to be giving speed, right? So cache tier will be, so it says claim 4 here, right? So, and capacity tier, if you want to just save data which is going to be not frequently used. Now frequently used data is always virtual machine, virtual disk. Virtual disk sends a lot of reads and writes on the disk, right? And capacity tier, it's just saving the data there for later use. So when we create a full vSAN data store, so there will be 3 disks that the vSAN will be using as the capacity tier, where it's going to place that data that is not being frequently used. So maybe the snapshot file of virtual machine, or ISO file, or any file that once you use, then you don't use much after that. But then virtual disk .vmdk, that will be placed on the vSAN where flash disks are underneath, right? So that's where it's going to put that data, because as soon as a virtual machine starts, it starts reading and writing on the virtual disk. Read and writing, read, write, read, write, read, write. Virtual memory, vmem file will be also here on flash, because memory is read and written so fast as well. So these two will be there. So that's why we're telling vSAN, okay vSAN, you can just have one disk of the hypervisor E6i1 as for fast access, second disk of hypervisor for slow access, and again one disk for fast access, one for slow access, slow data or infrequently used data. So that's how it is. And HDD cannot be cached here. No. Japinder says HDD, well, if it lets you select and at the end you see configuration correct, then it is letting you. But HDD cannot be cached here. But if it is letting you select, yes, go ahead, do that. Normally it's not supposed to be. So if you say cached here is HDD, if it lets you, then it will put the hard disk VMDK file on HDD. So the performance will be really bad. Yeah, HDD cannot be cached here, no. So in other words, it doesn't matter the storage type. Well, kinda. It doesn't matter. Storage type really matters. If you want the vSAN to work properly, go for this type of configuration. Otherwise, it's gonna give bad performance, and that's gonna be, then what's the benefit of even having vSAN? So it really matters that the SSD should be considered as cached tier, and it really matters that HDD should be configured as capacity tier. Otherwise, performance will be degraded, and we cannot afford to have that. Oh yeah, group by. So Mariam is there, and on the top you can see the group by. This one, Mariam. Okay, you got it. So thank you, Japinder. So and there's no option in HDD for cache tier. That's not good. Mayar, so we should have always coupled storage. Exactly, coupled storage. We should have minimum one SSD. You can have 5 SSDs and 10 HDDs as well, but minimum one SSD, minimum one SSD, one HDD, one SSD. Now Japinder's not seeing the no option in HDD for cache tier.
Yeah, because HDD can't be cached here. In Flash, there is two options: capacity and cache.
Okay, so yeah, Flash is also. Oh, you're using both as Flash. Then yeah, go ahead. And if it lets you, yeah, sure, you're good. Okay, so that's good, guys. If at the end you're seeing this, you're good. So okay, and so HDD choose capacity tier, Mariam. HDD choose capacity tier. Oh, you have both HDD. So change. So Mariam, see this. If one of the disk, you have to mark. There's a button here, right? Mark one of the disk as flash. So this F means flash. HDD is HDD. So just select one of the disks and press the button flash. It will change it to flash. So one of the disk has to be flash. One of the disk has to be HDD. That's how we need to go, right? So select one of the disk for E6i1. Select one of the disks E6i2. Sign on, sign on. Oh, there's no flash button. Then yeah, sign out, sign in. I had to do that too. Sign out, sign in. See, it's so tricky. So exactly. So well, I could go next, and there it is. Now after, if you have done this claiming of the disks, and for few students it works right away, that a vSAN data store gets created. that is a big one. Like it spans from ESXi 1 to ESXi 3, and once that big data store is created, what we normally do after that is we create a virtual machine and check if the virtual machine can be created on top of that or not, right? So this, if we can create and it powers on, this means our lab is good, that the vSAN is up and running now. And if we cannot start a virtual machine, then it's kind of a problem. There's no flash buttons. Yeah, sign out, sign in. So hopefully you've signed out, signed in, Mariam. So, well, I can click finish here, right? So Mustafa is asking RAID. Okay, what's the actual question? So it would be highly available. It can tolerate the loss of one hypervisor. It can tolerate the loss of one hypervisor. So RAID should be there for those disks which were added in ESXi. At the time of adding of ESXi, they could be made part of the RAID. Now this is just the data store is claiming all the disks that we provided on the three hypervisors. There's after this finish, it should create a vSAN data store now, right? So I'm just gonna click finish now, and hopefully everything goes well. And it's moving. Okay. And it's creating disk group on SAN. It is showing the progress here. Adding disks to vSAN. Add disks to vSAN. That is going on. Mark the disk as HDD disk. Completed. Create disk group on vSAN. So it's going through all this. %. Add disks to vSAN. So it's trying to access all the disks of the disks that we provided, the new disks that were not being used at all, raw disks were provided, and it is trying to add them to vSAN. And when it is done, let's see if it was able to create a vSAN data store. So that's one big data store, huge data store on top of the local disks of three hypervisors. So it's spanning from ESXi 1 to ESXi 3 if it has done. So for me, it is done, and I need to check all disks on version 5. Wow, okay. What I need to check right away is this area, right? This area. Why? All the data stores normally show here, right? So I'm going to go to storage area, and I'm going to look for a data store called, there you go, vSAN data store. Woohoo! Yay! Okay, this one, right? vSAN data store. So how many hosts does it span? So if I go to the hosts here, this, okay, it is showing 2 hosts out of 3. So one is witness and the other 2 are the operational storage operational hosts, right? So it went for ESXi 2 and 3 as storage option, but now it's showing 2 hosts, but I need to compare it with others as well. If you are seeing 3 hosts there, if anyone is on this page, then are you seeing 3 hosts or are you seeing 2 hosts there? So Japender can see 3, Alexei can see 3, Gajan can see 2. Okay, then I should be seeing 3 as well. Because there's no reason for it to hide that. So this side 1 is not showing, and why? Because it did get created. There was no error as well, right? So okay, now, but you didn't select witness. No, it it decides itself who's going to be the witness. We don't select anything ourselves, so it just decides that. Now, guys, does it work? So vSAN data store is there, and you can see it on all three data store, three hypervisors. So why don't we just try to check that? What is the purpose of a data store? Basically, right, to run machines. So why don't we just go for the data stores for creating a virtual machine. So let's create a virtual machine on top of the vSAN data store, right? So how do we do that? We go to the hosts and cluster here, host and cluster, and oh yeah, the HA is still not, I think we did not enable HA. So if you go to Tor cluster, always when you go to Tor cluster, make a habit of going to the summary page, because that's where it says all these things. Health alarm, Vsphere cluster members do not match vSAN cluster members. Yeah, I'm also actually noticing that. So it's saying that, hey, there should be 3 members, but why there are 2 members showing there? vSAN host daemon live NES, vSAN health alarm, physical disk health retrieval issues. Okay, so it might not have been able to retrieve the information about the disks of E6i3 in my case. So I'm going to go for Tor cluster here, right click the Tor cluster on top, and new virtual machine. Oh, there's still something going on in the background, because check now, new notifications, download patch definition, scan entity. Okay, it's Vm, I guess, which I did never installed. So I'm going to right click on Tor cluster here, and then go to new virtual machine here, and let's just go for a simple process of new virtual machine, but you can only create it on vSAN data store. So let's go ahead, new virtual machine. Oh, the flash button doesn't come. Then, well, flash button doesn't come on. Let's just, Mariam, just try on E6i2, E6i3, E6i1. Try to click the disks of each of these. Does it not come on any one of those, or only on any one hypervisor's disk? It doesn't come. I'm gonna go for create new virtual machine here, and name it your first name Vm07. Next. So it's saying select a compute resource, so we can select anyone. I'll select 2, and next, compute resource 2, E6i2. So that's where the moment of truth comes, where the vSAN data store is also showing now, and we can select that. So in my case, data store does not match current VM policy. This storage policy requires at least 3 fault domains, because there are 3 hypervisors contributing storage, but only 2 were found. So maybe you're not seeing that if you're on this page. You might be seeing it green here, I guess, because you saw 3 hypervisors there. So vSAN data store, I'm going to still select that, and if I drop down here, default data store default, VM encryption, vwall, vSAN. See this? If you drop down on the top, there's a vSAN default storage policy. vSAN default storage policy. If you click that, does it give an error? Does it give the warning? Okay, for me it's still a warning, but for you, I think it's if those who saw the 3 hypervisors there connected to the vSAN data store, they should be seeing it still green, but change this to vSAN default storage policy. Okay, so you're good. And vSAN next. I'll still go ahead. Okay. And then I'll still go ahead. 6.5 is okay. Windows and Windows 2008 server is okay, because we're not going to install OS inside. And here we just change it to 1 GB RAM and so 1024 RAM and thin provision. And hard disk here. is thin, it's already thin provision. Okay, so and vSAN default storage policies there, select it and click next and click finito. So okay, I got an error. Create a new virtual machine. Two usable fault domains. The operation requires one more usable fault domain. Obviously, vSAN. How can vSAN work when their third one is not detected or third one is not good? But I think for you it will work. It will not give you error. I still need to, I guess, restart E6i3 one more time, so it could detect that. But for you, did the virtual machine get created and were you able to power on? Oh, you have the same error? So Alexei's got the same error. Japinder and Gijin waiting for your test. Yeah, there were 3 A6Is. Gijin has same error. Ouch. I can see VM. So okay, Japinder is the winner here. So yeah, whichever A6I was not added, we need to just simply restart that A6I again. For some reason, it's not detecting that. So I'll just A6I3 was not showing. Oh, A6I1 was not showing in my case. Sorry, I'm just gonna go back here. It was not showing A6I1. Japinder, did you start the HA already? Because we didn't start HA. Okay, so you didn't. So it works fine for Japinder, and for Japinder, that all 3 hypervisors were showing. So if you go to the data store area here, storage area here, and I'm on vSAN data store, I'll just make it bigger. So for you, it was showing all 3. For me, it's not showing all 3. So E6i1 is not showing, and I'll just go back here and simply restart E6i1 because that's the only one that I did not restart. I didn't have to, but others I did restart. So now if it's giving issue, just go ahead and restart. So guys, that's not all that we are able to create vSAN data store, which is a big thing itself. And we were able to start a virtual machine on top of that, which is another big thing that, yes, everything was configured fine, this means. But we need to do the crash test as well now. So you have, Japinder, which E6I have you created the machine on? When you were creating the machine, you had to select a E6I, right? So E6i2, okay. So now guys, one kind of disappointing result that you might see now, and I'm gonna try to show here as well, that first, so Japinder's machine is on E6i2, right? If you crash E6i1 or E6i3, anyone, so it's virtual machine will stay up and running. When the ESXi on which that virtual machine is, it goes down, so obviously virtual machine is going to go down as well. But obviously we have, before doing the crash test, we need to have HA enabled. Then we're going to do the crash test, and first we're going to crash the ESXi where the virtual machine is not on top of that, and then we're going to crash that ESXi where the machine is on top of that. So what we need to see is that does HA kicks in when that hypervisor goes down on which our virtual machine is. So okay, my E6i1 is back. So I'm going to try to show all that now that we need to do crash test, right? So just creating is one story. Does it really work is yet still another story, right? So I'll just refresh here. So A6i1, I'll just check if it is even detected. It's still being detected. And then I also, so vCenter has not detected E6i1 yet from the restart. Oh, it's detected now. So I'll go to the storage again, and I'll check if the vSAN can see 3. Ah, still sees 2. Seriously, that sucks. Okay. So, if one is not there, vSAN is not complete anyway. So Japinder is asking, so I have to power on. Yes, Japinder, go ahead and power on VM07. So in our case, all others were not able to detect 1 or 2 hypervisors here, which is not good. Because anytime vSAN can, just simply spill out errors. So, well, first of all, this is how vSAN data store is created. And I'll just try to turn on the HA again. Although I still have to troubleshoot then that why the E6A1 is not detected when its disks were detected. The whole configuration process, it was detected. So I'm going to check that out again. Before that, I'll just go for the turning on of HA. So I'll turn on HA now. So Tor cluster, configure, vSphere availability, edit. So check sign off, sign in your machine. Yeah, you're right. Generally does is important. Is it important to have the same number of hard disk in all hypervisors? No, Imani, it's not important. You can have different number of hard disks as well. 3 raw disks here and 2 raw disks there. Yeah, it could be that too. So I've just turned on the HA. And then, yes, I'm going to sign out and sign in again. And okay, it's doing a lot of checking on all hypervisors now, the HA. It's getting familiar with, HA is getting familiar with the new vSAN in town now. New kid in town. Okay, so HA is up. No high hopes here for showing vSAN detecting 3 hosts there. I'll just go there and check before I sign out, sign in, and check it again. Nope. The 6A1 is still not detected. I'm just gonna go out. Maybe it's the dashboard, just like last time. The disks were not detected, and I had to sign out, sign in, and then it showed administrator. So you can see that in production environment also, you have to go through all this to make something happen and keep troubleshooting. So this is how exactly vSAN is configured in production environment as well. In production environment, you can also add LUNs there, not only local disk. Suppose somebody says that, hey, I want to use vSAN, but I have an older SAN as well, and that is just sitting doing nothing. So yes, technically you can add those LUNs there for the vSAN as well. Oh, so you had Vm, Alexei. What is your laptop brand and configuration? Yeah, guys, you can just go and be creative as Depinder is, and just go to the vCloud, because just like lockdown has every resource is now available and it's light. All roads are empty. You can drive fast now. So since we have left vCloud, so vCloud is really fast right now. So as long as we all don't go back, it's good. So okay, I signed out, sign in, and I'm going to go to the storage here. I really want that to be detected. vSAN data store hosts, and there you go. Only 2 detected. Woohoo! Seriously. Okay. So yeah, in my case, it's not working, but now I'm gonna just check the vSAN configuration. So if I go to the vSAN, so Tor cluster, configure vSAN and general. So general. Okay, your Munir's computer got frozen again. I think it's too much cold in Munir's room. Munir, you can turn, close the window. It's very cold outside as well. So, but yeah, if we're doing this stunt, it's not that easy. So guys, here vSAN, I go to general option there, and it shows all 6 disks on version 5. Seriously, it detects all 6 disks, and still if I go down here to vSAN iSCSI, so we didn't add any iSCSI here. We can. So I'm gonna go to disk management here, right? This disk management in vSAN. Yeah, restart is good. So if I go to disk management here, disk groups are showing, and I can see that E6i2, E6i1 is showing a disk group 2 of 2. E6i3 is showing the group 2 of 2. So pretty much in this area, E6i1, which is not showing ultimately, is actually being detected here with the proper number of disks here. So what is going on then? What is wrong then? So if I go to fault domains and stretched, we didn't create any. So here, 3 of my 1 host failures. So configuration can tolerate maximum of. So if you go to fault domains and stretched cluster, it shows clearly that 1 host failure. It can tolerate maximum 1 host failure. So that's very good. But my 1 host is missing right now. And I don't know what E6i1 is doing. Oh, I'll check the lockdown. I did not turn off, but I did. Okay. So I'm just talking loud here. E6i1, is my lockdown mode disabled or not? Because it's not detecting, but it came this far, so should have been disabled. Otherwise, just double checking my E6i1 why it did not get detected. Yeah, it is disabled, so it's okay. So it's okay. What? Why my one is not detecting? Seriously? Reboot the vSAN for once, just to try. Well, yeah, Shalender. That would be... So vSAN means vCenter. Reboot the whole server 2 once. You're right. Okay. Here goes nothing. Right click and restart. Ooh, continue. Oh, did you meant vSAN, like do not restart the whole, it's too late now, but maybe just the vSAN service? Okay, now you tell me. Yeah, I could have gone for just vSAN restart. I should crash other E6Is. Yes, Japinder, please go for it, and maybe you can take screenshots and show us the fireworks there. So, I'll now wait for the vCenter to start. So, Japinder, you can, yeah, shut down only any one of the E6I, because it can tolerate the loss of only one E6I, right? So you can shut it down and just check if your machine is still powered on. So you're good. Then just power it on back, and then check. Then you can shut down actually that E6I where the VM is running on. So does it restart on the other hypervisor or not? So that's the main lab. Cool. And if you take screenshots, then you can share with others as well. So now I have to give some time to my vCenter to wake up. Shut down E6i1. Let's see. Okay. So, and your machine is on E6i2. So yeah, machine should still stay power on. And yeah, overall space should be less, like 500 GB are gone when you shut down E6i1. So the space should be 500 GB less. So 1 terabyte less space overall for the vSAN. but the vSAN should be still alive and okay. And well, while Deepinder is testing, I'm just gonna start the vCenter, and hopefully one day, Monday or Sunday, my vCenter will let me log in. Okay, first comes the 543. This means the services are still starting. Okay, Japinder is showing the screenshot, guys. So I'll drag it here. So the vCenter is showing it's on E6i2, it is powered on, while E6i1 is shut down. So okay, that's very good. Thank you, sir. And yeah, it is on vSAN data store. You can see this vSAN data store here is the data store of this virtual machine. It is on E6i2, and virtual machine is powered on right now because there's a green play button here, while E6i1 is actually gone. So this means that the vSAN data store that is here can tolerate the loss of one hypervisor, but that's not the hypervisor where the virtual machine is living right now. It's another hypervisor, but the whole data store is still alive. So thank you for doing this lab, Japinder, and sharing with us. Yeah, so you can just power on. This picture just shows that vSAN works perfectly. It can tolerate the loss of one E6i, right? And well, the next thing is if you have enabled the HA, and you can power on E6i1, and you can power off actually E6i2 where the actual virtual machine is living. Because we have to cover all the scenarios in a production environment. What if the virtual machine is on the hypervisor and that hypervisor goes down and it's part of the vSAN data store? So what happens that? But this really shows that vSAN is working perfectly, right? So thank you, Japinder, for showing that. And oops, yeah, I'll just make it. And it's 503 for me, or 407, or 401. I'll refresh here. So guys, this is very good that we were able to do the lab, and you guys, I salute those who are trying to go ahead. Others are also good that you try to listen and understand, which is also very good. And then those who went a few steps further and tried to create the environment on your own. So that only adds to your experience and confidence, what you can do with the actual environment and how would you perform in an interview. Hopefully that's the same way you're active with AWS and Azure. Do as many labs as you can there, create more scenarios, come up with more scenarios, and try all those scenarios in AWS and Azure. The main thing to learn in the cloud as well is no fear. Just go crazily towards the lab. You learn from it. If you get something charged like $1, $2, even $10, but what you learn is gonna get you a big job, right? So don't worry about $5 or $10 there. Anyway, so this is the same thing here. You went ahead and you gave it your best shot, right? So that's what is required to get a better job in the market. You give it your 200%, right? So you have to repeat these labs at home. Hopefully you're repeating all the labs at home. Hopefully you're going for the exam prep as well. And well, we're gonna check that out now as soon as my vCenter is in up as well. So guys, I'll have to create one more quiz, and I'll be sending that email, and you can just do that quiz any time of the weekday. So I could just mark you. I have to give some marks, right? So it will be covering the whole thing what we have covered till now. So quiz topics are still what we have covered till now. So, but also from the previous one, we could not have possibly covered every portion of that. What the labs we have done. So I'll be taking out some more. So in my case, it's just still initializing. So now, Jupinder, we're also waiting for Jupinder's screenshot there, that if the first hypervisor was powered on and then the actual E6i2 was powered off, and then what happened. So yeah, it's kind of gonna take some longer time. So then there is quiz topics. Shiva says next week. Yes, next week, and it could be. Well, if you want, it could be this week as well. When will that quiz be available? Yeah. Okay, better next week. The 15th. And then can you be specific, like vSAN, HA, or etc.? Yeah, most of us. So it will be everything inside the cluster. So what is inside the cluster? As you said, HA, DRS, affinity, and some questions were there from all of these, but that didn't cover pretty much everything. And fault tolerance, and Vm, and vSAN. Oh, okay. So E6i1 is still coming up. Okay. Yeah, mine is also the vCenter is one day, Monday or Sunday, they're going to let me log in. The services are still starting. Yeah, true and false is the most brutal one. So that's my favorite. That makes the student think thrice before answering. So yeah, the more brutal, the better. But it's open book, so you can just Google it, or you can just download all the slides and Control F. Next week, guys, the quiz will be next week, and I will just tell the day. Maybe it's the same Wednesday. We can put there, but I have classes. I can give you actually longer time this time. How about throughout the day you can do any time instead of 1 hour. Shiva says thanks right away. So yeah, it okay. Mahmood says that's better. So okay, whole day, right? That's not fair actually, but okay. So send us last week PPT and also this week. Okay, sure. Yeah, it would be great. That's so nice of you. Welcome. Full day anytime. Yeah. Wow. It's like a party, right? Hey, that's not fair. Okay, so full day anytime, but you will get the result at the end of the day when everyone is done, right? So it's not like whoever is done will get the result right away and can tell everyone else, hey, this is the answer, this is the answer. So the result will be done when everyone is done. Result will be shown when which one was true, which one was false, right? So you can do as much discussion on that, each and every question. I'll try to make it as brutal as possible. But all day, it's like all you can eat all day, right? Okay. Not the brutal one? Oh, come on, man. The interview will be the brutal one. So there's a screenshot from Japinder, and thank you for your continuous effort, Japinder. And what we see here is that the machine is down now, and it was living on E6i2, and yes, still on vSAN data store. So the thing is that one of the hypervisor is down, but that is the one that is where the machine is there. So the main software is on the machine, right? What is running the company? millions of dollars. The software, the applications. That application is on a machine, so machine better be up. But machine in this case is down. And if HA was up, so after some time it may start this machine on another hypervisor, right? So, but the thing is that this is kind of disappointing that HA, well, it takes longer time, and then we haven't seen HA restarting it back. So that was bad. That if the machine is on top of the hypervisor that goes down, then can we restart the machine? And there's a problem with that. So it takes longer time. Probably a better hardware could show that the machine is still again up on another hypervisor. Oh, okay. So Japinder is saying it turned on now. So HA did its task, and it's like kind of, yeah, it took time because of the slow hardware. So that's very good. And the good thing is that yeah, some of you were following me, although it was a choice that you don't have to do that. But that's how we really learn. You jump in the deep water to learn swimming. So okay, there's a third screenshot here, and that screenshot shows that the machine is up. E682 is still down, and the machine is up with the green play button, and it is on E683 now. So HA also got triggered, and it did its job very well, and we are still on vSAN data store. So that's very good. That's the perfect example of vSAN being vSAN in action, right? So we configured from scratch, and now we've tested it to prove that yes, it works perfectly with HA, with DRS. They're all in it, right? So when you create a cluster, it's HA, DRS, FT, vSAN. They all work together. So now HA and vSAN, they both work together. So that's a very good example of what happened. So well, Rupinder, you took the lead, and thank you for sharing all this. Very good, very good job well done. So okay, in my case also, I'm just gonna check that if I was. So next week, guys, is more labs coming, and the quiz will be on the some other day. I could put the quiz on the same day, but then why don't we just do some more labs, right? So we can go for P2V, we can go for backup of virtual machines, right? And so, and whatever you've decided with the management, we can just keep going until our grandkids are in the university. You're welcome. And try to do the whole lab successfully till the end, guys. You have to give your 200% now, and then get a better job and enjoy the rest of your life if you really work hard now. So this is the time to really work hard, right? Give all the certifications, just give it your 200% on every subject, every task that you do, and just get a good job after that. Then you deserve it. Okay, so honestly, I got many errors, and I had to Google for each error, so I gave up to do it later. So yeah, that's very good, Shiva. Main thing is, did we understand what was going on? We can do the lab later anytime, but right now, try to understand, and that's very good that we don't have to concentrate on the lab itself, but understanding first what it is, and not on next finish. So those screenshots there by Japinder, you can just save them. That those 3 screenshots are the full proof of that vSAN really works like a wonder, right? And it saves a lot of money of yours. So do you know are there any changes in new associate exam of AWS than previous one? Not significant changes. You can recently one student passed an exam. I think it was older one. He passed, and he was saying that was it from here? I think it's from one of you who said that, hey, I just passed from the file, AWS file. I guess you guys are being Shy here, so maybe not from here, from some other college, but I'll just try to check. But always share your success and share the tips, guys. The more you share, the more success you will get, because others will share with you as well. And when you really need, then they will share. So you need to share with everyone as well, right? Your successes. But if there's no significant change, you can prepare with the older file, and just go ahead and when the newer file you have there, you won't see big changes. So it will be, the concept will be the same. So give the exam as soon as possible, especially Azure as well. Give it as soon as possible, right? So I'm just gonna finally check that if the third one is there. So vSAN data store is there, and it's on the host view. And there you go, still not working. Seriously? Okay, I have to reconfigure the whole thing again. So guys, just sit tight till 12 o'clock. I'm going to reconfigure everything from the start, from the scratch now. And you have to watch this whole show again now, right? Oh, okay, just kidding. So guys, now we're going to go for some more features there. Yes, Japinder. Really, otherwise yours is the only machine. So you can see, guys, that it could really go, yeah. And last time also, it was yours machine. So, man, uh, you're good. You deserve bonus marks here. Really big bonus marks. So, insufficient memory for power on VM. Ouch. Okay, yeah, you deserve samosas. Actual, sanitized and sprayed, disinfected samosas. Definitely, I'm gonna try to arrange that. So, okay, and resource pool as well. Yeah. Oh, resource pool. So yeah, Alexei, you can just delete the resource pool. We don't need that, and take out the machine from there. So, alright, guys, this is it, and see you next Monday and next week, anytime, maybe any one day there, full Tuesday or full Wednesday or full Thursday, you will have for the quiz, right? And next week is 15th, so whatever you talk to so we're gonna do 2 more labs here, and then, or you can tell me which lab you want to do next. Ah, there you go, Mahmood gave you samosas already. Woo, yay. So whichever lab you want me to do, I'll go for that lab. Otherwise, I'll go for the 2 smaller labs, right? There's a very, very long list of labs. If we keep on going, it is a never-ending thing, right? So just let me know what lab you want next week, or I'll just go for 2 smaller labs. And then after that, you want to have class, you don't want to have a class, extra class, are we having, did the management say yes, did the management say no? So let me know. Okay, so let's meet next week. And for now, so Japinder, you're coming next week, right? Because we need you to do the lab in case my lab doesn't work. Okay, so yeah, okay, that's good. Japinder's coming, guys. Okay, so it's so easy to share samosas, exactly. And so and Shalendra is saying there is one reboot button there, and that reboot button is to reboot the machines. So if I select that and reboot, it's just gonna reboot that machine, or select this machine and reboot. So yeah, it's just, remote reboot. Okay, bye bye, guys. See you next week. All right, thank you, bye bye, thank you, good night.